That new men's health center, it is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit Urology Centers, Alabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy, have fun out there.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the next round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the next round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Record number of players ghosting their old school in the portal. This segment brought to you by our friends at Ghost Energy and Ghost Hydration. Authentic flavors, zero sugars, no BS. Look for Ghost Energy and Ghost Hydration at all retailers that sell energy and hydration drinks near you.
All right, big transfer portal news over the weekend as Oklahoma quarterback Jackson Arnold, who was in the portal, comes out of the portal, and he finds himself down on the plains in Auburn. Eddie Radosevich, Sooner Scoop, going to join us to talk about that. What is up, Eddie? How are you today?
Gentlemen, good morning. We having fun yet? The college football transfer portal. What a fun time in the sport.
And it comes at a great time, too. Like I just saw Penn State's backup quarterback is hitting the portal. You know, Penn State's got a pretty big game coming up.
Right? I mean, that guy plays a lot. He does. And, like, if Aller was to get hurt,
I know.
Damn, I don't know what number 3 looks like. But that's tricky.
You may find out. So let's start here. Let's start, Eddie, with the urban legend, or maybe settling the urban legend. It has always been said that Brent Venables chose Jackson Arnold over Dylan Gabriel, and that's why Gabriel left. For the record books, how will that transaction go down once everybody has the truth and everything comes out?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there was a feeling at the end of the year, about a year ago, this time that everybody was kind of ready to move forward with Jackson. I think that going into the bowl game, into the Alamo Bowl, there was certainly a better feeling around the program than there was now. You were coming off of a 10-win season. It seemed like it was the moment. It was the kind of the time. You had Jeff Levy leaving. Everything was kind of calm by the promotion of Seth Luttrell and Joe John Finley as co-offense coordinators. Seth Luttrell would be fired 6 games into the season, and really, truly, to a certain extent, from about August 1, once Jaden Gibson went down with a knee injury, it seemed like Oklahoma didn't get good news on that side of the football. And as it turns out, you see, Dylan Gabriel. I'm sure there's a lot of people from Norman watching the Heisman Trophy presentation on Saturday night, and probably some buyer's remorse with everything that happened. And certainly, it wasn't all Jackson this season that helped Oklahoma or didn't help Oklahoma offensively, but it's certainly a gamble that they took, and it didn't pay off. And now that Jackson's headed down to Auburn, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are watching, not just the September 20th conference opener back in Norman, but certainly we'll be keeping an eye on the happenings down in Norman or in Auburn with Jackson Arnold.
From what you saw from Jackson Arnold, I just said, look, I
don't think it was like really a fair barometer. The offensive line gave up 46 sacks. You had 8 different starting combinations. Top 5 receivers were in, out all year long. So, I mean, overall, we didn't have a traditional Oklahoma offense around him. Do you still think there's a lot of upside for Jackson Arnold?
Absolutely. I think that there was a certain sense that, especially coming out of the Alabama win at the end of the season this year, he didn't necessarily tear it up through the air, 9 for 11, but it was what he did with his legs, 131 yards. And like you said, the offense, to just put it point blank period, it was one of the worst offenses Oklahoma's put on a field in the modern era of the program's history. And it wasn't all the quarterback's issue. Obviously, Jackson did not play well against Tennessee, got benched. And, I think that once that happened and they went with Michael Hawkins, that was kind of it for Jackson and Norman. And obviously he came back in, stepped in at the end of the year. There were some bright spots. There were accompanied by some low points, obviously, the way that they lost the game in Columbia. But when it's all said and done, it's hard to know exactly what Jackson was. If he can get in with Hugh Freeze, get some guidance from a quarterback coach or from somebody that knows what they're doing at the quarterback position that they just didn't have in Norman this year, there's still a lot of upside. And I think the best ball, as cliche as it sounds, Jackson Arnold's best ball's in front of him, and it's going to be kind of fun to see how he ingratiates himself to the Auburn offense.
There's always been a belief Auburn was going to be 2 quarterbacks in the portal. There's no way Jackson Arnold would agree for an Auburn destination not being guaranteed the starting spot, right?
I would think so. And, I think that that's what made the Mississippi State overtures so interesting. Obviously, his connection back with Jeff Lebby. But at the end of the day, you thought if he's going to be able to go in and step into an offense and really find some success, I just don't think that was ever going to happen in Starkville. And then when Michael Van Buren enters this portal, I think that there was a lot of people thinking, oh my God, it's going to be as easy as this, that he's just going to end up in Starkville. But yeah, like I would think that Jackson, not necessarily that he's been guaranteed anything, but I think that that's probably the most comfortable position for him to step in and be able to kind of pick up where a lot of people thought he was going to pick up this year in August and September. It was just the injuries and everything that went into Oklahoma this year offensively. It was kind of a disaster to be completely honest.
Yeah, and that's part of it. Eddie Radosevich is with us. Sooner Scoop, part of On 3, also the franchise morning show there in Oklahoma. You can follow him on social media at Eddie_Rado, at Eddie_Rado. So what does this mean for the Sooners moving forward? I mean, it feels like a pretty critical year for Brent Venables coming up after you've said disaster numerous times. Listen, we watched it. It was not great. What does this mean for Oklahoma moving forward?
It's maybe one of the bigger off seasons in the program's recent history, just in terms of you got a head coach in Brent Venables heading into his 4th season. And obviously you win 6 games around here 2 times in 3 years. People aren't happy. He's entering the 2025 season on the hot seat. It's a lot of, I think the word right now is patience, just with kind of wanting to see what Oklahoma's going to do with the quarterback position in the transfer portal. Obviously, a lot of eyes kind of set on the Pacific Northwest and the happenings of John Mateer. I think that there's still an expectation that he enters the portal, maybe even as soon as today.
He just did, Eddie. It's funny you bring that up. Yeah. Well, look at you. Look at you on top of the breaking news. Yeah,
it's going to be a busy day in Norman now as they get ready for the Armed Forces Bowl. A lot easier to talk about the future of what's going to happen than ending the season at 11 a.m. on December 27th in TCU Stadium. Certainly doesn't get people going around here. I'm sure you guys can imagine. But yeah, like it's going to be interesting. Now you're going to have to build that around John Mateer. Obviously, I don't think he's made the announcement that he's going to head to Oklahoma. Certainly would think that that's going to be the next step in this process. And I know that Oklahoma is going to be ready to aggressively pursue him in the transfer portal here over the next 24, 48 hours. And you kind of got to start building that offense. Ben Arbuckle, obviously, with the relationship that he has with the first-year offensive coordinator, I think even going back into that hire, you're hiring a 29-year-old to turn around an offense that was putrid at times this past season. And, to a certain extent, Brent Venables' tenure is now on the heels of not just getting John Mateer, but getting this thing turned around with Ben Arbuckle being a 29-year-old with, obviously highly regarded, but having never done it at a Power 4 level. So it's going to be rather interesting to see how this kind of unfolds for Oklahoma over the next 24 hours.
Let me be fair in the reporting. The report from CBS expected to enter the portal, and then a lot of other people have picked it up. So that's the actual report.
Eddie, with that said, look, and I think it would be so much more fun for us if we knew what the true valuation, what the deals were these guys were getting in NIL. Do you have any idea what the reports were possibly for Jackson Arnold going to Auburn and what Oklahoma would pay a potential quarterback like a John Mateer?
I can't say that I know for a fact, but I think that kind of just with the running of what you're paying or what you're seeing, what's being reported right now in the transfer portal, I think you're probably talking about just a little bit over $1 million, maybe $1.5 million for either Jackson Arnold or John Mateer. I think that would kind of line up with basically what Dylan Gabriel was making when they brought him in. So we'll see. It's going to be rather interesting to see what those numbers are. I think that there's a certain disgusting part of me that would like for those numbers to be published just so people have an idea of what we're talking about when we're talking about guys coming in and out of the transfer portal and the numbers that some of these skill position players, the wide receiver position, obviously Oklahoma's going to have to rebuild that entire room with the exodus that it has seemed at the wide receiver position. I think right now you're basically talking about just under $1 million, maybe over $1 million for a wide receiver, and it is what it is. That's kind of the sign of the times, and especially having to retool an offense like Oklahoma's going to have to do. It gets rather expensive, but they got the money, so it'll be interesting to see how this all kind of works out over the next couple weeks.
We were in Atlanta for the SEC championship game, and I cannot tell you the number of Georgia fans, but other fans from other traditional SEC schools on how everybody seemed to be Team Georgia for old school SEC to beat Texas. And really it wasn't because they were new. A lot of the conversation was Texas's schedule, they didn't feel like was a true SEC schedule. Now that you guys have had a year and a half to digest that in Norman, the fan base, not you specifically, but the fan base, and knowing that there's another 12 months of that schedule coming up just flipped around, how angry are Oklahoma fans?
I don't know about angry, but maybe peeved would be the right word. They definitely got their fair share of the SEC schedule. And, when that thing rolls out last Wednesday, and you figure out, okay, where's everybody going to be? And you start out November going to Knoxville and then get a bye week and you head down to Tuscaloosa. It seems like it's a never ending, just bad news for Oklahoma these days. But yeah, you look at Texas's schedule compared to Oklahoma's, Texas got a little bit easier ride, but I think in a way, and this, I don't know if it makes anybody around Norman feel better, this is what you signed up for. You kind of knew that it was going to be week to week some of the big powerhouses within the SEC and certainly within college football. So it's been a rough go.
We thought Texas signed up for that too, though.
I know. There's definitely. I'll put it this way: the final scoreboard in Atlanta, there was not too many people from Norman or Oklahoma City that were feeling bad for Texas and the schedule that they had to play to get there.
I have not. God, I wish I had this in front of me. I saw somebody last night, though, Eddie, pointing out the same thing about basketball, like the number of teams that Texas only has to play the one time.
Yeah.
Sure. I think Alabama, Tennessee, and Auburn are all in that group.
Yeah. I was at a local establishment on Saturday night after Oklahoma's Bedlam victory in basketball, and just to put it this way, Porter Moser's first 3 years have not been good. They haven't made the NCAA tournament. Just for him specifically, there's a lot of pressure to get to the NCAA tournament this year, but Porter Moser got a standing ovation on Saturday night when he walked into the bar. And that probably just shows you where Oklahoma football fans' heads are at. Usually around this time of the year, you're not talking about Oklahoma basketball. I think there are plenty of people in Cleveland County that would be more than ready to talk about an OU basketball team that are surprising, not just the Oklahoma fan base, but maybe some basketball people around the country right now.
Okay, I've got it in front of me. They are at Florida, Texas. That's a tough game now. Florida's really, really good this year.
Top 10 team.
Especially if Todd Golden's DMing people still.
I don't.
That story went away quickly, by the way.
How quick did that die?
Yeah, didn't it?
Yeah, that's weird. By the way, number 9 in the country right now. But Texas, listen to this. They only play these teams once. They host Auburn. They host Tennessee. They host Alabama. And they host Kentucky. I mean,
and they only play them once, no return games.
Yeah, that's the one-timers.
I promise you,
if I'm not mistaken.
It seems like Texas only agreed to come to the league if they got an easy schedule to start off with in football and basketball.
Not too long ago, and Nebraska fans would tell you this, but when they exited the Big 12, I think they were sick and tired of everything in the Big 12 offices running through Austin. I'm sure that you can find some message board posts today from Oklahoma fans that are saying the exact same thing about the way that Texas has kind of been the beneficiary of some of these schedules here recently.
Oh, it'll come back, though. They'll get theirs in the end. Sure. They'll get theirs in the end.
All right, go follow Eddie_Rado, R-A-D-O, Eddie Radosevich, the Sooner Scoop, On 3 Sports, also the franchise morning show out there in Oklahoma. Thank you very, very much, Eddie. It's always great talking to you.
Absolutely. Anytime. Headed down to the studio right now. John Mateer, that's certainly big news and just some good news that Oklahoma fans probably needed on this Monday morning.
Yep. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Eddie. Take care. Eddie with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Also, don't forget our friends at Coca-Cola. Is Coke Zero Sugar the best ever? Tackle game day with a great taste of Coke Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
Hemp Hill Services as well, LT.
Yeah, our friends at Hemp Hill Services, 205-229-2090, ready to serve you this winter. If you've got any heating issues in the house or business, hard to stop a train, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
And our great friends with the Pants Store holiday season. Still time to get that order at pantstore.com, pantstore.com, or go in person to guarantee you got it under the tree at Leeds and the locations in Birmingham, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, and Auburn. Your game day headquarters for the Alabama and Auburn fan in your family. Sweatshirts and polos, hats and quarter zips from Gentile, Antigua, Cutter and Buckhorn, Legend, and a lot more. And, Little T and EG dressed by the Pants Store. Most of their outings to Jordan Hare and Brian Denny this year. You can get free alterations and gift wrapping for the men and the women in your life right there at the Pants Store, pantstore.com. Nothing says Roll Tide and War Eagle like the Pants Store brownie.
So while we were talking to Eddie there, and a lot of quarterback news happened. So first, John Mateer. You've probably watched him more than any of us, Lance. I watched Washington State, I think, play 2 games this year. 3,139 pass yards, 29 touchdowns, 7 picks.
Yeah, John Mateer is a good player. Very physical, can obviously run the football with the best of them, led the team with over 800 rushing yards. 6'1", 6'2", 225 pounds. Physical guy, actually throws the football a lot better than you would think. Only 7 picks all year long. I think Mateer would be really good in Lane Kiffin's system.
Interesting. So if Kiffin got involved against Brent Venables?
Yeah, I mean, what have you guys heard quarterback-wise now that Jackson Dart is going to be done in Oxford?
They're looking.
They're looking.
They're in the market for that next high-profile guy. Michael Van Buren, who left Mississippi State, is at LSU and not getting Jackson Arnold. I mean, Mississippi State and Levy's known as an offensive guy. I'm not saying that's where Mateer would go, but he's obviously looking for a quarterback. So I think both schools in Mississippi probably are shopping the portal right now.
I don't know how people like Prabula,
yeah.
Excuse me, Prabula out of Penn State. The second half of that story dropped while we were talking to Eddie. Drew Aller has informed his coaches he's coming back for next season, which I can't imagine surprise. The guy's not going to play in the NFL next year.
Yeah, I forgot who Prabula came in against. Maybe it was Wisconsin. I think that was the game. And
no, he was, absolutely. Yeah.
Really come in and win it.
Didn't really miss a beat at all.
No.
Kid's fast. Very weird. And I guess if he wanted to transfer out, he had to do it during this window, right?
He's got to hit the window. And, he said himself in his statement, listen, I hate the timing because my team's in the college football playoff, but I didn't make the timing.
How do you not get a waiver if you are in the college football playoff?
They've got to fix that.
Yeah, or just move it and
special exemption. It's common sense.
Yeah, we could talk about 1,000 ways to fix that. If I'm James Franklin, I am telling him just what Kenny Dillingham is saying. I'm like, dude, put your name in the portal. Find your next location. It's not going to bother me.
Yeah.
You keep coming to work here. You keep doing what you got to do to be the backup quarterback here, and you can go on the ride with us all the way through the end and then leave and go to your next place.
I don't view James Franklin as that type of guy.
Yeah. I would do that. I would do that, especially he's QB2, and he's had to come in and win games for you this year. That's a crazy story there. 4 Downs every day, brought to you by our friends at Slice. We'll do that right here, and then talk to our buddy Joel Klatt coming up on the other side. Before we hear about Joel Klatt, Brownie, why don't you tell us about the great folks right there at A Plus again?
A Plus Tile Home Remodeling, A+bathandkitchen.com is really where you need to go. A+bathandkitchen.com. See more about Brad Bell. That's my man that redid the master bath in the Brown household. And he can do the same for you. He specializes in master bath, kitchen, and master bedroom closets. That's his specialty, but he'll do anything in the house there. I mean, this guy knows what he's doing. A+bathandkitchen.com is the starting spot for you there. I'll give you his number, too. This is his cell number if you just want to call him. 205-422-1758, 205-422-1758. Get him to come quote it out for you. But if you just want to see the work you can do, A+bathandkitchen.com is a great place to start. It is Brad Bell, A+bathandkitchen.com.
10:20 here. People are already looking for lunch. What am I going to do today? How about a slice and a salad? Stop into one of those 5 great locations of Slice, the original Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park, newest location in Edgewood. Get in and see the Bajaya Brothers. Local pizza, local ingredients from the Hot Mama to the Wing and a Prayer, the Bajaya Special. You're going to love it. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
And these are 4 downs right now. We'll start off with first down, LT.
First down.
Better next 3 years. Quarterbacks will see matchup in the first game of the Monday Night Football matchups tonight. But over the next 3 years, Caleb Williams, still in the obviously first year of that rookie deal with the Bears, or Sam Darnold will be a free agent, whether he comes back to Minnesota or not. Unseen. But would you go right now, next 3 years, Caleb Williams, Sam Darnold?
Do you know Darnold's age for me?
I would say Sam Darnold is 28.
Oh, still in his 20s.
Where's Sam Darnold going to be before I answer this question?
I don't know.
That's the difficult part of answering this question. If he stayed in Minnesota, I think I'd take Sam Darnold.
I think I would too, but
I mean, because if you look at obviously Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison,
he's got amazing weapons.
But they're showing no indication of re-signing him.
I know.
They seem to be committed to McCarthy,
which is weird. They're 11-2.
But if they end up going to, if he ends up going to the Raiders,
let's say Sam Darnold goes to the Rams, plays with Sean McVay.
No, I would take him at the Rams. I'd take him over.
I
Caleb
think
Williams.
he wants to go back to California. Now, look, what do you do with Brock Purdy if you're San Francisco?
That's a great point right there. I mean,
he would be better than Brock Purdy, I think. I know people at this time last year were saying Brock Purdy MVP. Now he's having a shaky year because of a lot of injuries. I do think he wants to go back to California, but Vegas might be that destination. I just think Caleb Williams, that we're even having the conversation, and it's funny, 2 former USC quarterbacks, they've just got to get the right staff in there for Caleb Williams.
I think I would probably go Caleb Williams just because I know where he's going to be and he's going to be on the field. Look, there's times this year he's looked really, really good.
And they seem to be committed in spending. They did a good job bringing in receivers in last season, and they'll probably keep trying to put weapons around.
Just got to get the right coach.
Caleb Williams is probably the answer. Good point.
Yep.
Second down.
It is National Underdog Day. Which first-round underdog has best shot at pulling off the upset? Indiana, SMU, Tennessee, or Clemson?
Well, I tell you what, my daily service station stopped to get a cold, refreshing Diet Coke on my way to work. I saw one of the guys I see in there probably every other day. And he's like, who do you like in the college football playoff? I was like, man, I tell you, I like Tennessee, but Lance tells me Ohio State's the best play on the board. And he's like, really? I like Tennessee too, which is probably exactly what you want to hear. So I guess I'm going to stick with Tennessee.
Can I bring this up? The last time Nico went over 300 yards.
I'm assuming it wasn't against Vanderbilt because that's the best game he's played in a while.
Did he do it against Alabama? I don't think so.
It was back in August 31st, one time against Chattanooga. And this offense has averaged 40 points against unranked teams and only 20 against ranked teams. This is, to me, the best defense I've seen all year.
I'm going to say Clemson, and here's why. Not that I believe in Clemson to win the game. I just think Clemson is closer to having the same roster as Texas than Tennessee is to Ohio State, SMU is to Penn State, and Indiana is to Notre Dame. So I'll take Clemson. I probably would go SMU next, Indiana next, and Tennessee last.
I'm going to go SMU. I don't necessarily feel great about any of these first-round upsets. It's been such a weird year. Watch us get nothing but chalk for the first 4 games.
Yeah, I know. It's what it feels like, honestly.
But I'm just going to play the James Franklin factor, and he knows that we got there. But if we were to lose to SMU at home in a whiteout, would be a bad look.
That would be very NCAA basketball tournament like, though. The debated team that made it in,
yeah, that's right, goes on a run,
gets at least one big win in this to sort of validate the committee.
I think if they win this game, I think they beat Boise. I think the winner of this game probably beats Boise.
Makes it to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Third down.
Whose career lasts longer, Will Levis or Bill Belichick?
Will Levis is done. There is no way you can run that
How
guy
did
back
we
out
all know
there.
this, but a front office
it's
in the
amazing.
NFL didn't know it?
It's
Like
amazing.
everybody. It wasn't the three of us. It was
I
everybody.
know, it's everybody. And Tennessee, of all teams, like, do you guys remember Tennessee's defense a couple of years ago? Every quarterback that faced them had a career day. Every one of them. Bryce Young had one of the greatest days in Alabama football history, and that's a proud football history, against Tennessee's defense. Will Levis had 98 passing yards against them, right there in their own state. And somehow the Titans still looked at it and said, that's my guy right there.
That's my guy.
Yeah, but how long is Belichick going to last?
Longer than Levis? Do you think Levis starts another game?
I mean, he shouldn't,
I
but
would
he's
start-
only in his second year.
Well, okay, I would start Mason Rudolph the rest of the year if I'm Tennessee. Well, I mean, why would you roll Levis back out there again?
And then I would see how much Sam Darnold would come.
That's right. I would
Or
see if I could
somebody
get
else.
Sam Darnold and I release Levis or whatever. I think Levis may never start another game.
I do say this about Sam Darnold, though. So Kevin O'Connell, who was the former offensive coordinator under Sean McVay, he needs to go to an offense where he believes he can thrive. Like, if you're Sam Darnold, would you go with this momentum to Tennessee?
No. I need to be picky. You're right. I need to be picky of where I'm going.
Or stay for less money in Minnesota, more than you ever thought you were going to make.
Could Tennessee be the franchise that falls in love with Jalen Milroe?
Could be. I mean, they got to look somewhere else. You can't keep going with Levis. It's we've seen enough.
Yeah, let's do fourth down.
4th down.
Ludwig van Beethoven would have been 254 years old today.
I bet he couldn't still play the piano at that age.
Ultimately, better career, Beethoven or Kirby Smart? I mean, Beethoven didn't do a ton of work. Now, he did it when he was deaf, which is pretty impressive. But
yeah,
you guys can laugh it up back there.
I mean, y'all laugh all you want.
Yeah, the resume is not great.
Yeah, Kirby has already won 2 national championships, and I think he'll win more. Now,
Will Kirby Smart be remembered 250 years later?
Well,
You
let
don't
me
know
ask
that-
you
you
this,
don't know
Tyler.
that he won. How big's the
How
college
many
football playoff?
bars do you go in and hear Beethoven's music? How
Right.
many bars you go in and Kirby Smart will be on the TV next weekend?
Yep. Lance got a point, Tyler.
Beethoven's still used in a lot of movies.
Okay. Does his family get money for that, you think?
I assume not.
I wonder how that copyright works.
Yeah, it'd be tough to find whoever. I mean, we could be related to Beethoven.
Yeah, you never know.
I would imagine, isn't there something that eventually all music becomes free? Like anybody can use it?
Yeah, public domain.
Yeah. Surely
Did,
Beethoven is there now.
Did he actually name any of his songs, or are they all just like Beethoven's 5th, Beethoven's 6th, Beethoven's 7th, or whatever?
I don't think he named any of them.
See?
He just composed different symphonies. And
Yeah. See, that kind of seemed lazy to me.
It would,
I
be
would name
it would be crazy back then. They're actually naming like, this one is Shabuzi. You know, they pick names out of the skies. Yeah.
I don't know. So, Tyler, you going Beethoven?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I think ironically I'm going to say Beethoven too.
Yeah.
I'm going to lean Kirby. I think Kirby's got one more inning.
Yeah, but does that make you pass Beethoven? That's 4 downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
5 great locations for lunch or dinner. Get in and see the Bajaya brothers, created by the late Jeff Bajaya. His brothers continue to celebrate his legacy. Get in and see Jason Chris. Great staff. 5 locations. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
And as LT gets ready to tell us about Michelson Laser Vision, clear view of the transfer portal now, which has over 1,800 FBS players in it. The first 1,500 that went in there, according to those that follow the portal, the first 1,500 FBS players that went in, 31% of them were seeking their 3rd or 4th school.
3rd or 4th.
Yeah, so that's about a third of the people that are in the portal are repeat offenders in the portal. So it's almost like dumpster diving. Not everybody goes and pulls out a Jackson Arnold out of the portal. A lot of that portal is other people's trash a couple of times over.
Do you just pack a big bag if you're one of these players?
I guess so. Just started in
Like,
schools.
you know, I remember I had just one big, like, huge duffel bag when I moved to Kansas, and I knew I was going to be there 3+ months.
Yeah. Joel Klatt on the other side, Michelson Laser Vision, bringing you that ironic, staring, clear vision of the portal.
Do you or a family member need to make your benefit selections at work now? Do you know your FSA or flex spending can be used to help you see clearly without the hassle of glasses or contacts? Yes, LASIK and Michelson Laser Vision might be a great choice for you. Book your free LASIK consultation today with Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson. Find out if you can use your FSA or flex plan funds to get freedom from the hassle of glasses or contacts. 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy Taylor the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trussville. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Hey, you. It's the holidays. Give cheer a lift. And at New Balance Birmingham, we got the gift. That holiday vibe? Find it inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy. Have fun out there.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Is Coke Zero Sugar the best Coke ever? That's a bold question, but it's got that irresistible taste to back it up. Well, one thing's for sure, when you've got an irresistible tasty match like zero sugar and 0 calories, something sensational is bound to happen. It's too bad you can't taste with your ears because this Coke Zero Sugar tastes amazing. You know, it's hard to put into words, and that's my job. You'll have to take a taste for yourself. Coke Zero Sugar, best Coke ever? Try and decide.
Happy football season. At The Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to Fall Saturdays.
All right, portal news happening everywhere. So we'll make it a Ghost Energy portal update. Edge rusher Morris Williams, former top 65 recruit, has filled out the paperwork to enter the portal from Auburn. There's about 1,800 of these stories. We'll see where he ends up landing. If you're one of the guys leaving the program, ghosting your program, remember you may need more energy, more hydration. It comes from Ghost. Authentic flavors, zero sugars, no BS. Look for Ghost Energy and Ghost Hydration at retailers that sell energy and hydration drinks near you.
I do remember, this is back in the day. I don't know if you guys can remember when it was only a 14 playoff and not 12. You guys remember those back in the day?
Historians do.
Yeah, I remember us debating, would players ever opt out of a playoff? And I'm like, no they're not opt out of a playoff. Joel Klatt joins us now. His head exploded over the weekend when that actually happened. College football on Fox. Y'all love Klatt. What is up, Klatt? How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Doing fantastic. Now, it's a backup quarterback, but it's a backup quarterback that has had some significant playing time this year. I mean, this is not some guy that never saw the field.
So we're talking about Bo Perbula.
That's right.
The backup at Penn State, who on Sunday night, last night, entered the transfer portal. And even in his statement, that he posted to social media, blamed the structure, which he's absolutely correct. In terms of like, hey, this is crazy. The season's going on and the portal not only opens while the season is still going on, the playoffs are still going on, but then closes before the season ends. And as a quarterback, guys, like, remember, other position groups, like, you can go find a home regardless of where other transfers are finding a home. Because there's multiple players at each position group that can go out there and play. So you can stack, like, hey, I'm a defensive end. It's like another premier defensive end chooses, X school. It's like, well, I can choose that school as well because we can both run out there. That's not the case at quarterback, obviously. And I would even take this a step further, that to succeed at quarterback, and we see this in the NFL all the time, and we talk about this all the time, but to succeed at this position, a lot of it has to do with fit. What is the system? Who are the coaches? And does my skill set fit? So with those factors at play, you're the only one that can run out there. Your success is dependent on fit. You've got to be very selective as far as the seats that are available out there in the transfer portal, or the musical chairs that kind of takes place. So if you're Bo Perbula and you want to maximize your future as a football player, you have to go now, which sucks for him.
Yeah.
Just totally sucks. And he even said, he's like, hey, this is kind of heartbreaking that I'm doing this. And there's going to be a sector of people that are like, oh, you don't have to do this. And Devin Brown is going to stay at Ohio State throughout the playoff, and then he's going to leave. But it's totally different, and Devin Brown is going to realize what I'm talking about right now, which is there are a finite number of seats out there. It's a game of musical chairs, and if you're going to find an actual seat that fits you best in order to maximize your playing time, career, and success on the football field, you've got to make a really quality decision, and he only has 2 weeks to do it because the portal ends on the 28th. It's such a flawed system that it makes my head explode. And the problem is, guys, and not to go on too long of a rant, but here's the problem. We all understand, like, the issue here, but the problem is that we continually allow in our sport the old guard to create the new structures. And vintage college football and modern college football do not mix. They do not. Everything old in this sport does not mix with everything new in this sport. Amateurism and NIL does not mix. The bowl season and the college football playoff does not mix. The transfer portal and the timing of that portal with a lengthy bowl season and a lengthy postseason does not mix. Nothing old mixes with anything new. And yet we have these people and the adults in the room just continue to screw things up. And they make structures that allow them to retain self-interest. So we've got bowl people in the room that are influencing the way that we make the postseason structure. And then you're trying to have a transfer portal, and yet we're not going to crown a champion until January 20th. And that's what's frustrating for me. Is that we have made a system that is almost impossible to navigate as a player, And the NCAA has failed again. And remember, in its inception, the NCAA, its sole purpose was to protect student athletes and the interest of the student athletes. That's their sole purpose. And yet they have done nothing in the last 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. They have done nothing but hurt student athletes and create an environment that is impossible for those student athletes to actually succeed in. It's really frustrating.
Klatt, I hate to even ask a question, but we saw it. Colt McCoy went down in the national championship game against Alabama. Garrett Gilbert had to come in. Nobody knew who the guy was. If James Franklin, God forbid, was to lose Drew Aller against SMU, the only other guy on the roster, Tyler Warren, who does it all for that offense, is the only other guy that's throwing a pass. Do you have any idea what quarterback 2 looks like?
No. I don't, and I got to be honest. I think they would probably go with Warren.
Wow,
some combination of snapping it to Katron Allen and Nick Singleton and Tyler Warren. I don't know what they would do. Let's hope Drew Aller stays healthy. I really hope that Drew Aller stays healthy.
So do you think right now they're probably working reps that they wouldn't have to worry about before with guys like that?
100%. They are at this point going to, I would say, gamble, in terms of not trying to. You're not going to try to get the third string guy ready. Would you put him out there at times to run some simple stuff? Maybe, but you're not going to game plan with him. You're not going to try to quote get him ready. And with the creativity that they have in their offense, I would fully expect them to lean into all of that in terms of direct snaps to Tyler Warren and even others on that team. And so basically it's like you're going to sit in an offensive meeting room. This is what's so crazy. And obviously the coaches are going to know this beforehand, but something along the lines of like, hey, who's ever played quarterback in their career? Who's like on our starting, in the 2 deep? And you're going to have some guys go like that and be like, okay, you're taking snaps today. This is what can you throw? Can you throw a double pass? What can we do?
Wow.
And Andy Kotelnicki will be devising some things for that type of scenario. What a disaster. The adults in college football have just they continually ruin this. The same people that made the Bowl Alliance, made the BCS, and then made the 4-team playoff, and now the 12-team playoff, which is why we have this extended, not until January 20th. We play a national championship game on a Monday night, for God's sakes. It's like these people are so ridiculous in what they do. Let's talk about fixes. Can we talk about fixes? Do you guys care if we go into that?
I don't care. Real quickly before you, just a short answer, because you know things that we don't know. Could Bo have said, I am in the portal? Can he pick his next destination and James Franklin say, you're okay, keep doing your work and stay here and play for us at Penn State and then go?
From what I understand, no. Because once you're in the portal, it's legal to contact you. But you can't contact. See, the portal is a marketplace. That's why it was formed, so that we could avoid tampering. Which I understand that tampering takes place anyways. We all kind of grin, but it's a place where you go and you say you raise your flag and you say I am available. Does that make sense? And then you can go on recruiting trips. You can do all of the things. You can basically be recruited at that time. So it's my understanding, and this might be wrong, but it's my understanding that if you enter the transfer portal because of that contact, you can't actually be on a roster. Because there's obvious problems with that. So the example I brought up, Devin Brown, who's the backup at Ohio State, has said he intends to enter the transfer portal.
Okay.
And I believe that there is a clause. And again, I would have to really research this further, and apologize for not knowing right off the top of my head. I believe that if your team plays past the window, you have a 3-day window at the end of your team's season. So let's say Ohio State plays past the 28th. Then at the end of their season, whenever that is, they have a 3-day window. The problem is that the entirety of the portal is musical chairs. So a guy like Devin Brown, even if he legally has the opportunity to go into a portal, all the seats are taken. So it's well, where is he going? All the good locations are done. And that's what Prabula is talking about in terms of kind of like this system. But that's my understanding at this point. That could be a little bit off, but I believe that that's all true.
Thank you.
We were going to talk fixes. I don't know.
Well, no, I was. Yeah, if you want to talk fixes, I was just going to ask you about a couple of transfer quarterbacks. We can talk fixes first.
Yeah, which one do you want to do, Klatt? You drive the show.
Either one. I threw out this idea on my show, guys, and I think that like one of the first dominoes that you could tip over to fix what's going on is the Army-Navy game, which we all watched and we all love. I love that game. My dad's former military. He was a Marine. He used to take me down to the Air Force Academy so we could watch the cadets march in, and we would watch at Falcon Stadium. And I love Academy games.
Yeah, before you get too deep, I wanted to ask you this because we talked about it. We did our live show from the floor of Bama, and they have a ton of military that comes out from both sides, and it's just an incredible setting. And we were talking about it, and I do agree. Brown brought up this game because we were talking about kind of a rotation. It was in Landover this weekend, and Brown was like, it always needs to be cold weather. And I threw out, what about if they ever played it in the Rose Bowl? Because there is a ton of military on the West Coast. Would you like to see this game played in the Rose Bowl?
Okay, I would like to see it outside of cold weather. Hear me out.
Okay.
I think that this game used to be in a unique spot where it had its own showcase spot, but now it's getting squeezed. We've got bowl games on the same day. We're waiting for the CFP. We've got the Heisman. There's a lot going on to where like it gets squeezed a little bit, and I don't think it actually gets its due. So I want this thing to be as big and as special as possible. I think Army-Navy should kick off the football season for America. Boom. Week 0 of college football. It's the only game. There's no NFL. There's no college football. It is the national anthem for America's football season. And you play it in week 0. It gets its own day. You've got dignitaries there. The president would be there. The commissioners of every conference would be there. The commissioner of the NFL would be there. And it would be like this. And it would be the national anthem for the football season. And Army-Navy then would have its own special day. See, now it gets squeezed where it's become almost an exhibition because these two teams are in a league, and yet it's not a league game. So Army's out there playing a championship game, but then this one doesn't count. And so like Navy beats them, but it's not for the league. It doesn't fit as well where it's at now, where if it's in the beginning of the season, it can become more of a showcase event, and it can really kick off the entirety of this fall season, which in a lot of regards has become kind of the de facto new year in our country. Kids are going back to school. It's a sport that we love. So when you do that, now you can start the playoff right away after the conference championship games. And I want to just see NFL style, like start the playoffs, maintain the momentum of what has become like an incredible November. We see all of these great games. Look at Conference Championship Saturday and how good that was. And then we just roll through. And that way we could actually finish the college football season the week of the 1st. And once you do that, you still have about 10 days of a transfer window before spring semester classes start around the country, which means that you can keep the transfer portal closed until the season ends and then open it up. And now we don't have the mess that we have currently. That's what I would do. I think it would be better for the postseason rather than extending it out to the 20th and competing with the NFL playoffs and the end of the NFL season. And it would be better from a roster construction standpoint. The linchpin is Army-Navy. You give it its own special day at the beginning of the year. It kicks off the entire football season for America, and then you just roll through December and play the playoffs.
I'm not against that.
Yeah, you framed it well.
Yeah.
I could take it.
What's Auburn getting in Jackson Arnold, in your opinion?
Hard to say because Oklahoma's offense was so bad. And it was structurally bad. So, like, I think Jackson, from a skill set, is a good player. And this is why I talk about fit all the time. What they were doing on offense, and I didn't really dive into their film until that Tennessee game. And then I watched the Tennessee game and subsequent games after that, and I was just like, this is gross. I did not understand what their intent was with their offense, what they were trying to do. It was very grab bag. Therefore, it's really hard to evaluate him. I think that his skill set is strong. So if he gets into a place where he can fit into a system that they know what they're doing, I think that he could have a lot of success. I thought he was going to have a lot of success last year. So my biggest question is going to be his confidence. As we know, guys, like your confidence can leave as a quarterback. And I'm wondering just what happened to his psyche during the course of this year, losing your job, coming back into the game, the offense in general being so bad. I think he can have a lot of success. It remains to be seen. It's a bit of a reclamation, I guess, project, and I think more from a psyche standpoint.
Two West Coast guys I wanted to ask you about. I've been a big Fernando Mendoza guy for, I don't know why. I like the way the guy plays. I think he was very underrated and not talked about because based on where he was in Berkeley. And then John Mateer. I know two different players, and I guess it's all about fit, but what do you think about those guys and where would potentially good landing spots be?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Is Mendoza from Miami? Is he from South Florida? I think he is.
He is.
Yeah. Is he? I think he is.
Yeah.
And I could see him landing at one of those Florida schools easily. I think that Mateer is an interesting one to me because he fits this idea of productivity rather than potential. I think a lot of players in the portal have a lot of potential, and we think about where they were recruited versus what they did on the field. And if you look at some of the guys that had a ton of success during the course of their tail end of their career after transferring, your Dylan Gabriels and even like a Will Howard or a Cam Ward or all these different players, they had production. And namely, I think of a guy like Curtis Rourke at Indiana. And I think to myself, like, who's the next Curtis Rourke? And to me, that's Mateer. Now, I don't think, is he officially in the portal?
The reports are he is entering, and a lot of things point to Oklahoma. We just had a guest, Eddie Radosevich, on from Oklahoma, and he says that is who Oklahoma is very interested in.
Exactly, and obviously the when your coach goes somewhere, and you target that fit could be quality because of the production he had. But again, I'll just go back to this idea of a Curtis Rourke type. And the way Kurt Cignetti always talked about Curtis Rourke was he wanted a guy with production over potential. That's what he targeted in the transfer portal, really at every position, but certainly at the quarterback position. And there's a lot to be said for that because experience and reps at that position and success at that position, I think, can materialize at your next location, which we've seen now over the last couple of years. So if personally, and he's not in the portal, and part of me hopes that he doesn't because we've got the Holiday Bowl, and I'd love to see him in San Diego. Now, having said that, if John Mateer entered the transfer portal, he's the one I would be most interested in because of that success that he's had in his career, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So we've had I said this earlier today, 2024 has been so unpredictable. We probably won't get an upset in this first round, but if you had to give us one team that wins outright, who would that team be?
Tennessee. I think that's your underdog that I think has the best chance. Next would be Indiana. I think Indiana's got a decent shot. Indiana's better than people think. Everyone just bagged on their schedule and they thought, oh, they haven't done anything. Like, when you actually watch them and look at what they did in every other game outside of Ohio State, like, they were really impressive. And by the way, their punt team gave up basically 14 points in that game on the road in Columbus. So it's a little bit different. I think Indiana has got a decent chance, in particular with what they do on the defensive line, trying to stop Notre Dame's run game. And then Tennessee, if you're going to build a team to go face Ohio State, I would say, well, the first thing I would want is a good defensive line. The second thing I would want is a team that could run the football. And it's like, well, here's Tennessee, and that's exactly what they do and why they're strong. If Ohio State gets baited into a game that is similar to what they played against Nebraska and Michigan, then Tennessee is going to win. If they don't, and they play their game, and they go out there and throw the rock, and they put the ball in their skill position players' hands on the outside, then they'll win the game. But that's going to be an interesting one next Saturday night.
I think SMU's tricky for Penn State because they're ranked 11th. They're seeded 10th. No, wait a minute. What are they? They're ranked 11th. They're ranked 10th, seeded 11th.
Yeah, you had it right the first time.
Yeah, ranked. So James Franklin doesn't know if it's a top 10 matchup or not. So that's what's tricky for Franklin there, Klatt. Is this a top 10 matchup? I don't know. Am I coaching a top 10 matchup?
Oh, man. I will say this about Penn State. You know, like, Penn State does not lose games that they shouldn't lose.
Correct.
To be fair, right? Now, they lose every game
that they should
lose.
That is correct, yes.
Yeah, but where do you categorize this game? Like,
I mean, they're an 8.5-point favorite. They shouldn't lose this game.
Like,
they're playing at home.
They basically struggle with Oregon, Ohio State, and Michigan, and that's it.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, top tier. I don't think SMU is that. I think SMU is going to struggle with the weather. I think that they're going to struggle with the environment. I could be totally wrong. And I love what Rhett Lashley has done. But this Penn State team, again, like, Aller's playing better and better. And if he's healthy, which obviously he is, but if he stays healthy and they don't have to dip into the Bo Prabula, that's a really good football team. Look at what they did to Oregon. You know, I know they didn't win the game, but they played really well.
Yeah.
So I think that people are sleeping a little bit on Penn State. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Penn State made it out of that side of the bracket.
Klatt, thank you for the time as always. Always good talking with you.
You bet. Great to see you guys. Have a good week.
All right, buddy. You too. Joel Klatt with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
Yeah, brought to you by our friends at Rodney Scott Barbecue. Holiday season from Thanksgiving, when Rodney Scott made it so much better for you, they can do it for Christmas as well.
Yeah, get that pre-order. You can do the spatchcock turkeys, pit cooked, smoked over the hot coals for hours. Go to RodneyScottsBBQ.com. Place pre-orders for Christmas holidays, homemade southern sides and desserts. If you're just looking for a place to go for lunch or dinner right now, get some of the best wings, some of the best ribs ever. Rodney Scott's right there for you. Serve a James Beard award-winning barbecue. Support local this holiday season. Rodney Scott's Barbecue, locally owned and operated. To order, RodneyScottsBBQ.com.
And our friends at UrologyCentersAlabama.com, UrologyCentersAlabama.com. 16 locations near you guys to help you stay on top of your health. What does UCA do for you? They treat all your urological needs, from prostate health to kidney stones and vasectomies, everything that they can do for you to make sure that you're healthy from your 20s to 30s, 30s to 40s, and so on. Visit UrologyCentersAlabama.com to schedule an appointment. And
hey, we're 9 days out from Christmas. A lot of guys, you procrastinate, you don't buy until the last minute. Here is a turnkey idea for you. We've been telling you about our friends at Birmingham's Best Day Spa, the Woodhouse Day Spa, located at the Summit Shopping Centers, right off of Highway 280. You can choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. Right now, 6 services for $5. You buy 5, you get that 6 free. Just mention the next round. Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's Best Day Spa since 2009. Order that special person gift online 24/7. They'll mail it to you, or you can just stop in to the Woodhouse Day Spa, located at the Summit Shopping Centers. Tell Stewart and the fine folks the next round sent you.
Ross Bjork, the athletic director at Ohio State, is already conceding the fact that Tennessee fans are winning the battle. He just doesn't want them to win the war now. This from SeatGeeks and StubHub. Of the Tennessee-Ohio State tickets being bought on SeatGeek and StubHub, 42% of them are coming from zip code inside the state of Tennessee. 4% of them are coming from California, which I assume are misplaced Tennessee and or Ohio State fans.
Yeah, you maybe half and half on those.
Only 22% are coming from inside the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
He is giving up the fact there will be a lot more Tennessee fans in that building than he wants to be in there.
Yeah, and
he's trying not to lose the whole building.
That's right. And the weather is not going to be a huge impact. It's going to be cold. I don't think there's going to be any snow. As somebody pointed out, Tennessee practiced in 24 degrees the other day, so it's not like it never gets cold in Knoxville.
That's right.
So, I mean, I think this is going to be a minimized road game for Tennessee. I don't think weather is going to be a factor. I think what impacts this game the most is, what the matchups, obviously.
Yeah.
And weather and hostile environment, I don't think are going to impact Tennessee.
I can't wait till we do Monday's show and we finally can gauge how important home field advantage ended up being in this first 12-team playoff, the first playoff games played on campus. Because we thought it was huge to be playing for that. And right now we keep hearing it being watered down and such. And then if fans are able to buy their way in, some home fans are giving up. If at Penn State you end up with some empty seats because of just how hard it is to get there and the students not being on campus, it makes me rethink on, give me that bye, man. Give me that bye. No, I don't need the home field advantage. Give me.
I think Clemson fans are going to travel. I know Indiana fans, 200 miles from South Bend, they're going to travel. They're going to spend money. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a pretty good percentage of road fan bases outside of SMU.
Now, you see this in the NFL all the time, especially those games in Los Angeles. I was floored yesterday, the number of Tampa Bay Buccaneer fans. I never consider us having a big national presence.
Oh, that's hard to believe. Yeah, now, last week when Buffalo was in SoFi, it was
like
50-50.
Yeah, but there were, it wasn't like the Cowboys were in town or when the 49ers played there or somebody like that or the Steelers. But there was, you could just see on the wide shots the number of red patches inside. And then the cutaways, they had multiple cutaways of Buccaneer fans. It was shocking to me. Los Angeles is a big city. So you get some of that in the NFL. I was expecting more of a home field advantage. And maybe we'll come back Monday and say, man, the home field played and made a difference. Right now, it seems to be lesser than what I expected. Show being brought to you by a couple of great folks. One of them is our friends at Coca-Cola asking you the all-important question.
Oh, it's about Coke Zero Sugar, Jim. Tackle game day with a great taste of Coke Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever? Try and decide.
Yeah, and our friends at Gray's Tree Service takes us to the next hour.
Yeah, if you're looking to get those trees extracted, make sure maybe it's one of those things you want to do by the first of the year. Family owned and operated for over 25 years right here in Birmingham. They are the experts in the high-risk tree removal. Call 205-281-6100. You can scan that QR code. Visit graystree.com. Make sure you mention the Next Round sent you.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trussville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
In some places, football is a sport. In Alabama, it's a fine art. New Life Art is proud to announce Daniel A. Moore's upcoming painting, Deuces Wild. This season, Bama is blessed with a pair of very talented Deuces. The pair played a huge role on both sides of the ball in the Tide's amazing 41-34 victory over number 2 Georgia. Deuces Wild will portray the unbelievable game-winning 75-yard touchdown catch by Deuce number 1, Ryan Williams, late in the 4th quarter. The Dogs' last chance drive was stopped by Deuce number 2, Xavier Brown, as he made the game-saving interception in the end zone, which will be celebrated by a small artist's remark in the bottom margin of each print. Go to danielmooreart.com to see the artist's preliminary sketch and take advantage of special pre-publication pricing for Deuces Wild. Also available, The Legend, Daniel Moore's final tribute to Coach Nick Saban. Order now at danielmooreart.com.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access Jim anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy, have fun out there.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
New AP basketball poll dropping today. Auburn was 2, could be 1. Tennessee still unbeaten, was 1, could be 2. Tennessee escapes a coast-to-coast play at the buzzer to beat Illinois in Champaign, 66-64, but Auburn dominated top 30 Ken Palm, Ohio State in a big win. Janai Broome continues to put up Player of the Year numbers, 21 points, 20 rebounds. Alabama with a resume-building win over Creighton at home. Mark Sears back with 27 points. And the SEC 13-1 on Saturday. That including big wins like Florida over Arizona State, A&M beating Purdue, Oklahoma over Oklahoma State, Kentucky over Louisville, and a lot more. The SEC basketball off to a great start. This hour being brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, Highway 119, down in Alabaster. Sterling the crew ready to serve you lunch. It's open now for about 7 minutes, which means he's dropped his first order of chicken because he cooks it to order when you walk in. You can call ahead or go online at champyschicken.com and do the easy pickup window there. But go inside sometime. It's a great destination lunch location. The fried chicken, the chicken fingers, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and so much more. champyschicken.com.
The College Football Spotlight.
Our Spotlight each day always brought to you by McCurry Van and Car Rental. The tough trucks, SUVs, passenger vans, and cars to find in the rental market. They got them at McCurry. They make it easy to rent in and out fast. Locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Call and reserve that rental today, 256-559-1003. That's 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com. That's McCurryRentals.com.
A little conversation about portal and who's going in our spotlight today. First off, running back Justice Haynes, who is the #1 running back in the portal right now, the kid that left Alabama, is visiting Ole Miss in South Carolina to start the week off, according to those at On3 and 24/7 that cover this. I think Matt Zenitz is the one that was reporting that this morning from 24/7. So swing through Oxford and Columbia, South Carolina, before maybe a trip to Ann Arbor to Michigan for Justice Haynes.
I think he's got a ton of potential. It was just weird how the football, and a lot of this did have to do with Jalen Milroe leading the Alabama team in carries, but Justice Haynes averaged just a little over 6 touches a game.
Yeah, and some of that, like you said, you can pin on, well, your quarterback takes a lot of carries away from your running backs when Milroe's your quarterback, which is true. But when they tried to run it traditionally, they just weren't very good at it this year.
And Jam had twice as many carries.
Yeah.
So like you thought it would be, and I guess it kind of was running back by committee, but Justice Haynes just kind of seemed like the odd man out and wasn't getting touches in critical moments, which he even got that last year in the Michigan game in the Rose Bowl.
Also, Alabama Devonta Smith, the DB, is in the portal according to reports. Alabama's Jaleel Hurley, who is a corner who went in the portal, is going to Kansas to play his next football. We mentioned a lot Jackson Arnold going to Auburn, Walker White's in the portal, Hank Brown signs with Iowa. But a couple other big moves, including Michael Van Buren going to LSU. He's going there, I assume, just to be the backup because Nussmeier said he's coming back. A kid that had really impressed you, LT, for his time at Mississippi State when he finally took over there.
Yeah, I just remember against the Georgia, or in the Georgia game, how good he was in spots. And I'm a little surprised. I mean, unless he was told, hey, this is going to be your team after, Nussmeier leaves. But that seems like kind of a promise that could not be kept. I mean, Brian Kelly is literally coaching for his job right now.
Yeah, I don't think I would, to your point, I don't think I'd go in the portal for a next year promise or a 2026 promise, essentially, is what you're saying.
From a guy who may not be there.
Yeah, from a head coach that may not be there, and who in the world knows what happens between now and 2026. So much can change. Hey, but you know what? You can just get right back in the portal.
You can.
I mean, Zach Calzada's in it today. He's looking for his fourth school. He's leaving Incarnate Word after being at Texas A&M, Auburn, Incarnate Word. So you mentioned it the other day, 30% or the other hour, 30% of the portal right now is made up of third and fourth stop guys, right?
Yeah, looking for their third or fourth guy.
Yeah, looking for their third or fourth stop. So I guess if you're Van Buren and you go to LSU and it doesn't work out, what's it matter? I just think he needs to get on the field right now. When he was on for State, he played pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how good he's going to be. He's obviously not your first option because there's no way Nussmeier comes back to LSU if he even thinks it's going to be a competition.
And watching both of them, you think Nussmeier's the better of the two quarterbacks.
Yes.
So.
That's our McCurry Spotlight today. Some other names in the portal. Miller Moss, by the way, at Louisville. Tell us about McCurry.
McCurryRentals.com. You're headed out on the road this holiday season. Rent for McCurry. McCurryRentals.com. 256-559-1003.
All right. So the coaching contracts, some good, interesting, and bad for the weekend. First, the good, Marcus Freeman, who I think is only 38, gets a contract extension.
He's got to be
Notre Dame, long-term contract extension.
Right. Marcus Freeman's only 38.
Thought I saw 38 today.
I think so.
Yeah. Marcus Freeman, 38.
When he lost to Northern Illinois, did you think we'd be sitting here waiting for them to play? Remember Friday night, that game, Indiana-Notre Dame, 7 o'clock ABC on Friday night. And that he'd be getting a long-term commitment from Notre Dame contract extension.
I did not know. I mean, I'll tell you. Because there was some talk after he lost to Northern Illinois, like if they don't make the college football playoffs and Northern Illinois cost him, it may put him on the hot seat. It's not going to get him fired, but it may put him on the hot seat.
Well, year 1, 10-3, the 9-4 last year, it looked like he was trending after a nice A&M win to open the season. After that loss, damn, does it get worse? Does he go 8-4 this year? But they flipped it around. They had one of the best defenses in all of football under Al Golden. This is one of those moves. Do you do it before you lose to your in-state rival?
Get this out of the way to reward him for us being in the playoffs.
It is much easier to stomach this extension than if you do it on the backside of a loss to Indiana.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah. We saw that somewhere.
Well, you saw it kind of in the Florida situation.
That's what it was.
They were going to Texas, and Scott Strickland, before the Texas game, was like, hey, Billy Napier's our guy.
Yeah.
Probably knowing in the back of his mind, we're probably not going to fare too well in Austin. It's going to be hard to make that case after. Let's just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off and hope that Billy can finish strong after a loss to Texas, which, by the way, they did.
Yeah, where are you guys, though, on Freeman? I like Freeman. I don't know how good of a coach he is. He hadn't had a lot of these situations, if you know what I mean, like with big must-win games. And a lot of this is no conference affiliation, the fact that first time they've been in the college football playoff under Marcus Freeman. I think he's a good coach, but if he was to lose to Indiana,
I know,
and they drop their second game, the season's over, depending on what he does next year, I don't know what to think.
And your losses are Northern Illinois and Indiana. Last year,
Marshall.
I think Marshall. Last year was Marshall, and didn't he lose to Ohio State too? But that game, I felt like, okay, he had lesser talent, and they played so hard against Ohio State. I'm with you. He looks so good at sometimes. It seems like he recruits really well.
The Ohio State losses, you remember the one Ryan Day afterwards started destroying Lou Holtz for some reason. And
we are physical.
Yeah, and then did it's Ohio versus the world or whatever. It was a weird Ryan Day interview afterwards. But Marcus Freeman is better positioned to consistently be in the playoffs than any coach in America.
That's right.
I mean, if making the playoffs is enough for Notre Dame fans, Which, by the way, I mean, they haven't won a national championship since 1988. I was at Sachs Middle School last time they won a national championship. 1988.
I think this is their best chance since.
It
I guess you
probably
could say
is.
2012 because they had a one-game situation.
Yeah, but boy,
it wasn't close.
It wasn't close. But he is so well positioned because they control their schedule. They don't have to win a conference. In 12 teams, most of the time at 10-2, they're getting in. Like, even if they had dropped a game, they're still in this year.
Well,
like,
I
if
think
they
so
lost
too.
to USC the last week of the season, Notre
Probably.
Dame's still in.
And I think...
And that was with a loss to Northern Illinois.
Marcus Freeman, former linebacker at Ohio State, defense coordinator at Cincinnati. This is a guy that has a commitment to quarterbacks because the last couple of years they've gone in the portal and gotten very experienced guys from the ACC and Sam Hartman, and this year and Riley Leonard. And you know they're paying those guys 7 figures plus.
Yeah, he's got some money behind him for sure. Now the bad and then the interesting. The bad is Mike Norvell. Brown was telling me today, developing from Tallahassee, was restructuring that cost him a little money.
So it is being described as a contract restructuring, initially reported by Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports. Basically, he's giving $4.5 million of salary back to the school for player, what are they calling it? Compensation pool, I think is what they're calling it, the player compensation pool.
Raising money for revenue sharing facilities.
Yeah, so $4.5 million of his salary is what Norvell's giving back. Now, let me first say, before I say my second part, this is not entirely uncommon. I think Brian Kelly made $1 million pledge.
Yeah, that was going to be the unique
LSU.
one. Is if you guys raise 1 million fans,
That's
I'll
right.
match your 1 million. We'll put 2 million in together on my behalf.
And Mike Gundy just did it last week.
Mike Gundy just did it, and there's been another coach that did it, but Gundy's was to save his job.
That's right. That was different.
I
Gundy's
think
more Norvell.
Norvell's kind of is too.
That's
though.
where I was going with this.
Yeah, Gundy and Norvell.
Yeah.
Norvell's more like Harbaugh.
Yeah.
At Michigan before there was NIL.
So, but the key in this report to me is the phrase restructured contract. Because it could just be restructured to, okay, instead of the $4.5 million coming to my bank account, it goes to the Forever Florida State bank account or whatever they're going to call it. Or it could be you get the $4.5 million and your buyout's reduced by X, right? I mean, I would need to talk to our attorneys on this. They do a ton of these for coaches, but if he's reducing what he makes by $4.5 million, does that also reduce the buyout, or is he reducing what he makes? Is he still making it? It's just a charitable or just a donation from him? I don't know how this is going to work.
That's what I wonder if you can actually, if this can be part of your write-off at the end of the year. I know we've heard NIL is not,
but I don't
if you're
think
a
it's
coach
tax deductible.
Internally doing this, I don't know. But back to his representation, I've got the feeling his representation is the one that comes up with this.
Oh, they said it was suggested by Mike Norvell to Florida State.
Yeah.
This does feel like a PR move after, all right, I know I had one good year and I cashed in on this massive contract, and I certainly did not deliver on it this year. So will you guys take $4.5 million back and be happy with me?
Yeah, I mean, if it's like over 6 years, I mean, are you making it sound like it's just from this year, or is it?
It's unknown.
If it's over 6 years, it's like, okay, if I'm making $8 million a year, I'm only going to make $7 million a year. I mean, that's significant.
It said $4.5 million this year.
Okay.
So, I mean, that is a 1 year, $4.5 million pop out of him.
Yeah.
I was more interested in the part where it said restructured his contract.
Yeah.
Because I would like to know, and this will come out, how deep the restructuring went. Did the restructure...
To your point, if we fire him next year,
that's right.
Is our money we have to pay him drop significantly?
Because Mike Norvell, and you saw it this year, he was unfireable. I mean, I think it was an $80 million buyout or something like that. He had an insane contract.
But I think him dropping a little salary. Tyler, if you get a chance, Google Mike Norvell player and show us that first image. I think this guy can survive on less than $9 million a year.
The photo of Mike Norvell as a player.
Yeah.
But if he's made it easier for Florida State to fire him, he's immediately on the hot seat, don't you think? Like, if not for the buyout, if his buyout were an affordable buyout, there you go. If his buyout was an affordable buyout, he would be on the hot seat after last year, would he not be? Even almost playing for a national championship.
You think he slept on a couch back in the day?
That is some kind of... Is that Central Arkansas? Is that where he played?
Yeah, so he played for UCA, Urology Centers of Alabama.
I cannot believe that is Mike Norvell.
Yeah.
I've seen the photo before.
Hey, you don't need a vasectomy with that look.
All right, so that's Mike Norvell, and we mentioned Brian Kelly there. making a $1 million pledge to the NIL. Just interesting contract moves that are happening. A little bit more college football after we do trash. And remember, we're here until 1 o'clock live today, so a lot of college football, including the Auburn discussion with Zac Blackerby coming up at 12:15 as we go live until 1 Central today. The show being brought to you by our friend Dr. B. Got LT's hair. Man, today, this weekend down on the Gulf Coast at the Floribama, that breeze would come by. And you were like, wow, look at that. Is that a model? No, that's Lance over there with that hair just flowing.
Yeah, don't remember that. I did get a text from a buddy. He's a Falcons fan, and him and some friends are in Vegas. And he's like, look, I got a friend here asking about Dr. B. How legit is he?
Very.
And he's like, I've already tapped out. My hair is gone. And I was like, look, if he's in kind of the beginning of this, Dr. B can grow that hair back. If not, he can maintain what he's got. So they're reaching out to Dr. Beckenstein when they get back in town. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. B for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training, genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B today. Tell him the next round sent you, 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
And remember to get ready for game day with a great taste of Coke Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever? Try and decide. By the way, you see now why Marcus Freeman's name got floated out for that Bears job, don't you?
To get a contract negotiation.
Kind of hard to convince that he's leaving for another job on the college level, right? I mean, it would take a big opening like LSU or something like that.
Or if his alma mater does come open.
Or Ohio State comes open, but
I think that's more so it. Like, you do it twofold. To me, I don't think he was going anywhere when it came to the Bears job, but you get out in front of this in case you lose to Indiana, and more importantly, if Ohio State was to lose, and some of these reports possibly true, if Ohio State's looking and they decided to go to Marcus Freeman, that is a job he would leave Notre Dame for.
There are very few you'd leave Notre Dame for. That's one of them.
2 Monday night games tonight. Bears and Vikings, 7 o'clock on ABC. Falcons, Raiders, 7:30 on ESPN. From the NFL, 2 first this past weekend are unique stats. So one of them is, for the first time ever in the NFL, half the playoff field is set with 3 weeks to go. Already clinched their divisions. Chiefs, Bills, and Texans. Steelers have clinched a wild card. Playoff spots clinched also by Lions, Eagles, and Vikings now. So 7 spots already clinched with 3 full weeks still to go.
And I'll just say this, like,
or with 3 weeks to go, 2 full weeks.
The way your Bucks are playing, the way the Rams can possibly play if they get healthy, the way Denver was able to close out the Colts yesterday, I just believe these playoffs are as unpredictable or even more so than what we've got in college football right now. Like, I can't tell you. I believe Buffalo's the best team right now.
Yeah, but look at their defense. Look at their last 2 games.
Now, it's been 2 unique offenses.
It has
been. The Rams at their best, where they completed or converted 80% of their third downs, and then Detroit on the road. But
I mean, they're not stopping anybody right now.
You can't stop Josh Allen, though. You cannot stop that guy.
For those that haven't paid attention, am I right? It was 44-42. They beat the Rams, or the Rams beat them 44-42, and then they just beat the Lions 48-42. Is that correct?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, so 2 games in the 40s, 1-possession games, and they were 1-1 against the Rams and the Lions.
And by Dan Campbell's own admission, if he didn't panic on an onside kick, that might have even been a closer game than 48-42. Campbell even said he screwed that one up.
Yeah, I didn't like the call at all. I don't think he realized that Buffalo was going to try to return it and take it to the house. And they were going to begin that drive on the 3. But that just shows you desperation. I am concerned now because, it was one thing when you lost to Aiden Hutchinson, and now you've lost your best defensive tackle.
Yeah, they're beat up defensively.
McNeil, yeah. So, I mean, look at that. It's on there right now on the McAfee show.
Yeah, how many guys they've lost on defense?
I mean, it's more than 11.
Yeah, Carlton Davis, I think I saw, is about to undergo surgery, so they think he's done for the year.
Yep.
Hutchinson, they said, has been back working out, but I don't think there's any way he could be back for the playoffs. Dan Campbell kind of teased that.
Was that an Achilles or a knee? Or, I don't even know what the injury is.
I can't remember. Yeah,
I don't know about you. I would rather play Detroit right now than Philadelphia, just based on defense.
For Philadelphia, after a week of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith complaining about the passing game, both of them go over 100 yards. Both of them get a touchdown as they beat the Steelers. Steelers lose T.J. Watt with an ankle injury, but in doing so, they still clinched, even in a loss. I listen, really, really, really back to Josh Allen here. the stat about the numbers he's put up, what was it? 340 plus passing, 60 plus running, 2 passing, 2 rushing touchdowns. And it's only been done 3 times in NFL history, and he's done it twice in 3 weeks. He's got 2 of the 3 times that's been done in NFL history. Those numbers, over 340 passing, over 60 rushing, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, only been done 3 times, and he's done it twice in 3 weeks.
They were just debating. I was watching this in the break on ESPN. Is he the scariest quarterback in the NFL in front of Mahomes right now? And I would say absolutely.
Yeah, not even close.
Especially Mahomes getting hurt, ankle.
Well, yeah, but even before
he
that.
is so much better than Mahomes at this particular moment. Look, I can't remember somebody playing at this level right now. He's making it so easy, and this is what was obnoxious about him. And look, I think he is right now the best quarterback in the league. But he's calling out shots in the middle of games like, when he's running down, he's horse collaring me. Or yesterday it was like 15. He throws a little shuffle pass and he's walking off the field. He's doing like Jordan things when he was closing his eyes to make it look how easy the game is right now for him. And he's not doing it with incredible weapons. Coleman and Kincaid were back yesterday, but it's not like he's got the best skill around him. He is single-handedly carrying this team, and that is the one quarterback you don't want to go against right now.
Trust me, I know that. And he lost his best receiver in the offseason. I mean, Stephon Diggs was going in the offseason, and there were a lot of people that were speculating that this is a rebuild for Buffalo. Far from it. They may be the best team in football.
And what do you do with Mahomes right now with the ankle injury? Like, you've got a 2-game lead, basically, on Buffalo. Do you sit him for a week?
Yeah, and I suck it up and I go play in Buffalo. I get him as healthy as I can get. I don't play him the last 2 weeks. I get him as healthy as I can get and take my chances.
You've got 3 games coming up in a span of 14 days,
maybe?
Because
they play the Christmas Day game, don't they?
Yeah, they play the Christmas Day. Yeah, it is. I think I probably would rest him the next 2 weeks against the Texans and the Steelers. Hope you can pull one of those out. You still win Week 17 against the Broncos. You've got home field. I think that's the way I would do it.
I just watched the Texans. They're not great offensively right now. C.J. Stroud and their offense is struggling. They're a little bit banged up, but they're playing really good defense.
But Vegas, I saw them turn you over 4 times yesterday. Vegas has favored the Texans in this game, so I think they believe that Mahomes will sit in Arrowhead against the Texans this weekend.
Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and Houston playing each other coming up on Christmas Day, both on Netflix, if you've forgotten that. Both on Netflix, streaming only on Christmas Day for that. All right, one more thing to talk about from the NFL after LT tells you about our friends at Inverness Country Club.
Inverness Country Club, how about the gift of membership this holiday season? You can get it right now. All you got to do is call Erin. Tell her the next round sent you and get a tour of this unbelievable club. You can surprise your husband or wife or just go together and get it done. You're going to absolutely love it. Benefits for the entire family. Social memberships, golf memberships, including the expanded driving range, tennis courts being redone, the pickleball. You're going to absolutely love it. Whatever your interests are, you can find it at Inverness. They've even got a vineyard club. Child care also a big plus. Best days happen there. Take a tour of this unbelievable club. Call Erin. Tell her the next round sent you. 205-99 or 991-8608 or online iccalabama.com.
And you could go see an American hero, an American treasure, an American park, whatever you want to see in an RV from Johnston RV Center. I-65 exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Always online, johnstonrvcenter.com. Great deals right now to help you do that and save when you're out on the road. They love the United States military the way we do on this show. So much so that they want to give you a great discount. Whether you're active duty or a veteran, it's just a very small way of saying thank you. See more at johnstonrvcenter.com.
All right. I trust Diana Rossini, don't you? I think she's a really good NFL reporter.
Who's she with now?
The Athletic.
Oh. I don't know if I trust her or not.
All right.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what's her track record?
Yeah,
Has she got a good track record?
I've always thought she had a good track record.
Okay, maybe she does. I don't know.
Diana Rossini says multiple sources tell her that one person reached out to the New York Jets organization, letting them know that they were interested in their job just a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, I bet I can guess based on timing. It's got to be Bill Belichick.
It was Bill Belichick. And when there was no interest back to him, he then jumped into the North Carolina DMs, and he's now the coach at North Carolina.
Yeah, here's all I would say if you're the Jets. You went out and got one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I know he didn't play last year, but it has been an absolute disaster. you need somebody like Belichick, like completely change whatever your narrative is, the way you've been doing things, and that's going against the grain. I know he's been basically politically blocked out of any of these NFL jobs, but if the Jets ever want to get good, they got to do something different.
Yeah, I would say that would sort of complete what we're seeing in college with guys like Rich Rod going back to West Virginia saying, I should have never left. Belichick, he wouldn't say I should have never left, but he could go back and make some rebuild some bridges with the Jets organization after he left the way he did to become the Patriots head coach.
I guess so. If there is a way you could go back in time, I wonder if you would, which one you could convince him the most, that he's the North Carolina coach or that after the Patriots there's not an NFL team that wanted him. I wonder which one would shock him the most.
Well, I mean, one goes with the other, right?
I guess so, but or maybe he would think, well, there were NFL teams interested in me, but it just wasn't a good situation. Apparently, there have been 0 NFL teams interested.
What about if I go back 10 years and say, what's more likely? Bill Belichick is the coach for North Carolina, or Tom Brady wins a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers.
Yeah. Both of those would have sound asinine. And so, do you think it's because the belief is now of what he is without Brady? Is that what this is?
Well, I think
No, it's not that.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I thought.
No, I've heard what it is he wants total control.
That's right.
And there are a lot of these general managers and front office guys that don't want him to come in and have autonomy over everything. They have these egos and they want to flip it around themselves, and they don't want to answer to anyone. And if he comes into your organization, everyone underneath him is going to be accountable, and there's nobody that wants that.
Well, what scares me about giving him total control is in the Brady era, they did it with a lesser roster. And they had an exceptional quarterback. And once they lost that exceptional quarterback, the lesser roster that played the Belichick way couldn't pull it off.
Well, that's what I've heard. His eye for talent ain't that good. And that's a problem at the collegiate level.
I would say so.
The Raiders offensive coordinator Scott Turner is expected to, hopefully after he pulls a massive win over the Falcons tonight, is expected to be North Carolina's offensive coordinator with Bill Belichick. So leaving an OC job in the NFL to go be the OC in college with Belichick, that's at least according to reports.
Have you guys ever seen this when Sirianni came over to say something to Jalen Carter after he punched the Steelers offensive lineman, and the D-line coach is getting in Sirianni's face and basically saying, hey, man, now's not the time to talk to him.
Don't go talk to him. That's the head coach.
Can you imagine another head coach being cut off like that at the legs?
Now's not the time to come talk to him. Yeah. All right, when we come back, we've got trash and a lot more, plus another hour, 12 to 1, nonstop today. Thanks for being with us. Don't forget Little T and Forrester have so much stuff going out on social media at Next Round Live, Like and subscribe. Basketball games, you get great content there. Post-game reaction, everything on our Twitter feeds and Instagram, TikTok, and so much more at Next Round Live on social media.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there. On the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy. Have fun out there.
Hey, you. It's the holidays. Give cheer a lift. And at New Balance Birmingham, we got the gift. That holiday vibe? Find it inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham. We got now.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It is the will to prepare to win." Hi, I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryant Bank, and I can tell you that our Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that is right for you. At Bryant Bank, we specialize in community banking and offer personal and business loans, checking and savings accounts, mobile banking, and treasury management services. Stop by one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama to find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to Fall Saturdays.
Back with you on the next round as we roll on here. A little NFL talk in the last segment. Already on the show, including Joel Klatt today. You can get that podcasted at Apple and Spotify. Joel talking about what Auburn is getting with Jackson Arnold, about Penn State's QB2 being in the portal, not being able to play. So they're basically running with one quarterback through the college football playoffs. How long that lasts at Penn State. Just some of the things Klatt talked about on the show today. Get that wherever you get our podcast, video and audio-wise, including Apple and Spotify. Brought to you by our friends at CPAP Plus.
CPAP Plus wants to remind you, the O'Neill brothers, CPAP users themselves. So when you get into one of those locations, they know exactly what you are looking for. You can Google CPAP Plus, visit 3 convenient locations, Pelham, Highway 280, and Trussville. Make sure you mention the next round, $20 credit towards the purchase of a new mask system, CPAP cleaner, even a travel CPAP machine. Stop by today. CPAP Plus, you're going to find the best service and equipment all in stock, ready for you with hundreds of 5-star Google reviews. Trust CPAP Plus for all of your CPAP needs. CPAP Plus, where every night matters.
We'll circle back to basketball and college football in the playoffs in just a second, but a couple of the ins and outs of what has been moving during the show here. First, Alex Scarborough, Bama 24/7, reporting, saying his sources are telling him, even though Milroe has committed to finish the season the right way with Alabama through the bowl game, his plan is still to go to the NFL after the bowl game to make that announcement. That from Alex Scarborough and his sourcing around the Milroe camp and around Tuscaloosa. That's interesting news today. If you guys will give me a reaction on that.
I mean, I'm not entirely surprised by it. At some point he's going to announce it. I do think, focusing on the game, playing in the game, being a good teammate, and then doing the announcement after the game is the best way, to be a good teammate. I don't know any other way to put it, and not shine the light on you and make it all about yourself.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
I am not surprised this is the move. If he believes he's going to be the number 3 quarterback taken in this draft, it probably is the right move. If I'm a general manager, very, very concerned about his second, third reads, about the intermediate passing, and about the inconsistencies.
I mentioned the fact that Bo Prabula is in the portal. He's QB2 at Penn State. QB1, Drew Aller, not only playing in the playoffs this weekend, he's told the Penn State folks he is coming back next year to Happy Valley. So if you're a big Aller fan, you're excited about that there at Penn State. So that's big news there. John Mateer looks like he is heading to the portal whenever he makes that official. Oklahoma, Brown is telling me, is a place that may be interested in the Washington State quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, that was what Eddie Radosevich, who was on with us as that story broke, said that is the guy they have targeted in the portal. So it looks like with Jackson Arnold going to Auburn, the Washington State quarterback is now going to go to Oklahoma. Based on their play this year, that's an upgrade. We'll see in the long term.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Mateer was fun to watch. I mean, that was a great offense, and that one late night game I think against New Mexico, and there were some other situations where he was just really, really good. And you heard Klatt talk about production over potential. He did have the production this year. I'd still rather have Jackson Dart, but he is kind of a proven guy when
Jackson Arnold,
when it comes to production.
Well, the thing with Mateer is, would he have been that good behind the Oklahoma offensive line and without the Oklahoma receivers? You'll never know that.
Against SEC defenses. All right, Tyler, if you'll give me cut number 6, please. Back to basketball before we get to trash. Auburn dominates Ohio State. A new AP poll coming out at some point today. Auburn could be number 1. At worst, they're number 2. Unbelievable resume. 5 quad 1 wins, the most in the country right now. And they're doing it behind Janai Broome, who had 21-20 again this weekend. He's basically averaging 21-20. And he is a guy that even he admits it's not about his offensive numbers. That I said this in the first segment. Auburn's strength actually may be on the other end of the floor, the way they play defense. Here's Janai.
It was important. We pride ourselves on our defense. Defense creates offense. So we go into each game saying how many points can we hold the opposing team to, because we know we can score the basketball. And that's what we did today. And that's how the margin got so big. But I think our length and the way we defend and how we block shots and make every shot hard, I feel like that just – over time, it works on the offense, and where we capitalize on the other end.
Ohio State scored 53 points in a made-for-TV game in Atlanta.
It was great defense by Auburn. We've seen that from them all year.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was 60-53. It was 91-53.
Yeah, 91-53. They were up 44, and Broome right there, 20-20. I mean, those are massive numbers. I agree with you. I think he is, at least right now, middle of December, your National Player of the Year.
Yeah, all those numbers in 26 minutes.
The coaches poll is out, by the way. Tennessee does retain number 1 there with 22 of the 31 coaches' votes. Auburn got the other 9.
Yeah, Ken Palm's what we pay attention to, and I think
you were asking for the poll earlier.
Yeah, I think. Well, I'm just saying Ken Palm's what we pay attention to.
Which one do you want, Tim?
I wanted the AP poll, which isn't out yet.
Okay.
But Ken Palm is the
Auburn is number 1 and Ken Palm. Tennessee is number 2.
Yeah.
In that one. No votes in that one.
Did Alabama move up or go down with Creighton to win?
Alabama's number 8 in the Ken Palm.
Number 8. I think there were 7 going in. So those numbers move around a lot, but Auburn's still number 1 and the one that we pay attention to there. Speaking of Alabama, it was 33 days, cut number 8, Tyler. 33 days between games in Coleman Coliseum for Alabama. The longest gap between home games in Coleman Coliseum since 1976 in Tuscaloosa. So I had a chance to ask this of Nate Oates after the game.
When you're 33 days between home games here, is it mental toughness, chemistry, both that you learn from being on the road that much?
I think it's a little bit of all of it. Definitely some chemistry, being together on the road as long as we were. We were in Vegas for 8 days. We've been on road trips. Even though semi-home game at Birmingham, we're up there the night before and kind of getting to know each other well. I think it's a great group. I think that the mental toughness is there. I mean, a night when we don't shoot it very well at all from 3 and just finding ways to win games when you don't shoot it particularly well. You get to get to the old boards, maybe force some turnovers. Our points off turnovers, we about doubled them. So I think there's some mental toughness, some toughness to playing on the road as much as we have. And, Purdue's one of the better environments in the country. And I think that's going to go a long ways for these road games because the SEC is looking really good. We're going to have some big rival games on the road that we're going to have to play really well in hostile environments. So I think this helped.
And by the way, right now as it sits, any road game in the SEC, any of them is a quad 1 win.
I was going
they're
to
all
say,
top 75 then, yeah.
Would you guys take SEC or field? Because if the SEC does it this year, it's going to be a team that's never done it. It looks like, whether it's Auburn, Tennessee, or Alabama.
Kentucky's playing. I mean, they're still up there.
They have a win over Gonzaga.
Yeah.
They beat a downtrodden Louisville team. Our buddy Morgan from up in Kentucky, he drives to every Alabama game. He's got us a nice bottle of bourbon. I got to give it to you after the show.
Oh, what a gift.
He brought it down. It's a bottle of Larceny for LT.
We've previewed it before.
Yeah,
on
I remember that.
Bourbon.
Yeah.
He tells a great story about it. He pointed out that Louisville basically played that game with 7 scholarship players and played Kentucky close in Rupp Arena, lost by 7.
I still think Florida's a good team.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Top 10 in the
number 7 in the Ken Palm.
Number 7 in the Ken Palm. One spot over Alabama. They're the team.
That is correct, Jim.
With their win over Arizona State that jumped them. Little basketball. It is so great here. We'll take a moment for trash in the show, or at least this hour of the show, with some college football, and then get back to more college football in our bonus hour today. We're here live with you until 2 o'clock. Brought to you in part by our friends at the World of Wills. Always exciting. And what a great Christmas gift.
Yeah, this is that time of year you're trying to figure out, like, what do I put in the stocking? Well, if you've got the car fan in your family, you're going to absolutely love the World of Wheels. It has been a fixture here for years. The O'Reilly Auto Parts World of Wheels, January 31st to February 2nd at the BJCC. You can see custom classic cars, hot rods, trucks, motorcycles, and new this year, check out the exotic car exhibit. Plus, don't miss the BMX bike stunt team that Brown loves, performing those dangerous stunts live each day. Kids, meet your favorite costume characters and race Hot Wheels on the free Hot Wheels drag track. Don't miss Super Bowl or Super Show with one-of-its-kind vehicles from across the country. You can get discount tickets today at O'Reilly Auto Parts stores, or you can get details online, worldofwheels.net. That is worldofwheels.net.
So it looks like Michael Vick is trying to get the Norfolk State job to be the head coach. Teddy Bridgewater, by the way, who just took over Miami Northwestern Senior High School, their high school football program there at Miami Northwest. Not only did he take over as the head coach, he won the state championship over the weekend in Florida for Teddy Bridgewater.
Dominated, too. I think it was like 41-7 or something.
How about
like
that?
Yeah.
Let's spin that roulette wheel, do a little trash. Brought to you by Mortgage Right. Tyler, if you will.
Do y'all usually start before 8 o'clock with a chainsaw?
What time is it, sir?
Well, it's after 8 now. You guys started firing it up at 7:55.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
I'm telling you, man, my leaf blower has not been out there.
I am starting to get worried about it.
I am too, a little bit.
Let's check. Can we check?
I am. But, you know, we were driving home. We got back, believe it or not, left midway through Big Earl on Saturday. Got back into the neighborhood at like 1 a.m. And that's when Maddie was like, all the leaves haven't fallen yet.
They have not.
We still got a lot to go, but there's
Yep.
still a lot down.
Yeah.
Trash always brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. They are the mortgage experts. No cost or obligation to reach out and see what you may qualify for. 205-900-7200. MortgageRight.com/TNR. NMLS 2239. Equal housing lender. I mentioned this to you guys earlier. The East Coast drones that everybody seems to be talking about.
Everybody's got a theory on these things.
Now, I am supposed to go see my Rams play on the East Coast this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
That's where all the drones are. Drone detection system is, quote, being deployed to New York after a series of mysterious drones were spotted flying over parts of the East Coast in recent weeks. Now, the sightings have been reported in New Jersey and New York since November, sparking alarm from residents. However, authorities stress that the drones do not appear to pose any threat to public safety. Now, according to Governor Kathy Hochul, is that the right governor? Kathy Hochul.
Mm-hmm.
Quote, in a response to my calls for additional resources, our federal partners are deploying a state-of-the-art drone detection system to New York. She went on to say the system will support state and federal law enforcement in their investigations into the matter, but she said further assistance from Congress is needed. A lot of people are just pissed off because they don't know what's going on, but like if it's a government thing.
Yeah, so what you're saying is, and from what I know about the story, that there's been a lot of people dragging their feet on giving answers or not giving complete answers or any of that. And the fear is these are from a different government. And are we in danger? And then I've started to hear a different side of this, that it could be our drones from our governments on a mission.
Which, if our government is looking for something, it wouldn't benefit them to say, no, there are drones. We're looking for this terrorist cell that we think is going to attack America.
It's got to be governmental drones because you've got to register the other with the FFA, do you not?
Yeah, if you've got your own drone, you've got to register and have a license depending on where you fly it, I think.
And surely if we didn't know whose drones these were, we would have taken them out by now, right?
Well, in theory, but also...
do it down here in the South.
Yeah, also...
Well, they're asking you not to shoot them, right?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Are they?
I think so.
It's one thing to ask and then one thing not to act.
Yeah. I would say I think our government could find the origin of these drones very quickly if they did not come from the United States. Yeah. I think they're ours.
Yeah,
and
our government.
And that leads you to, with the amass of these, and they're saying, I think it's like 16 calls an hour they get to 911 about these. So if there's that many out there, I mean, what the hell is going on?
It's a good question. But again, it's probably something that doesn't benefit our government to say, here's what we're looking for. You don't want to give people an idea of what you're looking for if they don't already know.
Or scare them if it's something dangerous.
That is right, yeah.
I think that could be one of the fears. Last thing you need holiday season is mass panic, right?
There's no doubt.
Is this where LeBron disappeared for a few days?
Well,
were you looking for LeBron's game?
I think they were just looking for him in general after 8 days.
Most of the reports I've seen are saying that the drones are looking for nuclear material, radioactive material, stuff like that.
That is a popular theory, yes.
Yeah. Okay, and that's probably that's not a great thing, right?
No.
So, mental note, don't ever let Tyler not scare the American public.
That's right.
We danced around that 100% without trying to scare people, Tyler.
Going old school Orson Welles?
Tyler,
H.G. Wells.
Hey, I'm in my 20s. I'm going to scare the heck out of everybody. They're looking for a missing missile.
Where does Home Alone fit on your rank of Christmas movies?
I don't watch Christmas movies except A Wonderful Life and then Love Actually. Those are the only two. So.
It would definitely be behind Christmas Vacation for me, probably also behind Elf.
Office Christmas Party up there?
That's what I'm going to do this year.
That's becoming a class. It's probably number 2 for me right now behind Bad Santa.
I mean, it probably doesn't hit the top 5 for me, Home Alone.
It's still a little nostalgic, though. Macaulay Culkin, the former child star, has revealed that he noticed when this iconic Winnetonka, Illinois home where the film was shot went on the market back in May, he thought about buying it. Quote, I had a half mind to buy it just for giggles. He went on to say he wanted to turn the old fictional home into a movie funhouse where people could sled down the stairs just like Kevin does in the movies.
Yeah, I'm sure the neighbors would love this.
The price of that, by the way, it only lasted on the market for 1 week, $5.25 million.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big house, and it's suburban Chicago, right, I think?
Yeah, probably. I mean, Winnetonka?
Yeah, I think it's suburban Chicago, and I've seen photos like they've had to build a fence and a gate now, and... You have to end up putting up signs.
I'm sure. He said his perspective for the film's changed since he's got 2 little boys now. He said he watches it more like a father through those lenses.
Very flimsy plot line in that movie. You have to look past the old plot line.
You don't think it's believable?
Very flimsy plot line.
Yeah, he thought about buying it just for blanks and giggles, but then his agent said, when's the last time we really worked, guy? Let's hold on to that $5.2 million.
And his brother, Kieran, is blown up.
I know. That's the crazy thing. His brother's the bigger actor now.
So a Lyft passenger arrested after he stunned a driver because he, quote, got a little naked in the back seat of the car.
A little naked?
48-year-old? He stunned him or he went zzz with a stun gun?
No, just stunned him.
Oh, you're a little naked.
48-year-old passenger who has not been named was picked up last weekend, December 7th in Lakeland near Tampa, Florida, where the driver heard a, quote, strange noise from the back seat. He was shocked to find the passenger had taken off his clothes in the back of the vehicle, immediately told him to stop. When the passenger was asked by police why he did it, he said, got a little naked because I was overcome with a, quote, feeling.
I understand.
Yeah. Put your hands up. Take your hands off the weapon.
My balls is hot.
Probably one you don't want to be charged with. I would assume that you are at least categorized as a sex offender.
Oh, 100%.
Now, he has been charged with exposure of sexual organs.
Yeah, I think that gets you on the list, yes.
Direct hit.
It was. Now, another Florida man. Being in touch with nature is one thing, but gardening au naturel is quite another for some neighbors of a Florida man who's been doing yard work in the nude. There he is, look.
Oh.
He's been over blurred out.
Well, I was not expecting that.
Now, Sheriff William Snyder says he believes the man's refusal to wear clothes has breached 2 statutes, lewd and lascivious behavior and breach of peace. He says authorities will begin taking statements from neighbors. One neighbor told WPBF the man was bent over winding a garden hose up on Sunday evening when she was putting the trash out.
That's not my garden hose, ma'am. Oh, sorry, sir.
Neighbor Amy Canterbury says she's just taught her 6 kids to, quote, look the other way when the neighbor's naked.
Yeah.
It's something you don't want to teach your kids. Hey, just look the other way when the neighbor is naked outside.
Yeah, it's going to be an issue long term, right, Jim?
Is he painting the house, or is he staying off that nasty ladder and cleaning out the gutters there?
You don't want to ruin it for the wife.
And finally, suspect embarked on Santa-like antics when he climbed inside of a chimney, got stuck while trying to flee from police.
With clothes?
This unfolded Tuesday night when officers tried to execute search warrant at a property in Fall River, Massachusetts.
Damn, what was in the chimney, LT? He goes in looking like that, and he comes out looking like that?
Yeah. That's rough.
That's his accomplice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's his accomplice.
Yeah. Body cam footage shared by police captured the moment suspects Robert Langless, 33, and Tanisha Ibe, 32, tried to escape. One of the officers says, hey, he's on the roof, quote, get down here, show your hands. I'm going to come up and grab you. When Ibe leaped from the roof onto a car, by the way, that's the chick doing that.
Yeah.
Langless
heavy air quotes on that.
Hunkered down inside of a chimney. His hiding place came to light when a passing dog walker told officers they heard someone screaming and spotted the man down the chimney. The officers reached inside of the chimney, yelled up, "Are you stuck?" The suspects were trying to flee, then set about freeing Langless. Langless was ultimately dislodged from the chimney, saying his leg hurt. Police described him as having, quote, Santa-like antics.
Yeah. Santa-like antics.
Go back to the mugshot. Nice of the local department to put it. No, go forward to the small mugshot in the main picture. They put it on like a holiday background.
That's our Christmas card.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Happy birthday or Merry Christmas from Robert and Tanisha.
Dude, if you get claustrophobic, can you imagine being in this situation?
No.
Or if they've got a fire going. That smoke coming up past you could kill you.
Oh, he's lights out if you got that.
That'd be crazy. That's Trash Today, brought to you by our friends in Mortgage Right.
Yeah, they are the mortgage experts. Whether you're looking for your first or final home, these guys can help. No cost or obligation. MortgageRight.com, 205-900-7200.
All right. Again, another hour coming up on the other side. But we wrap up here. Cam Newton did a podcast this week and talked about Deuce Knight, about not giving Deuce his number, not going to let him wear the number 2. And then Forrester clued me in on this, and I didn't know this, but Forrester was telling me that the jersey isn't actually retired. That obviously Cam wore it. Is that? Have you done any more research on that? Is that factual, Forrester?
Yes, that is correct. The jersey is number 2 is not worn very much, but it is not retired.
So Auburn has retired the 34 and the 7. Is that right?
I believe that's correct.
The other
34
two
for Bo and Pat Sullivan, but they haven't retired the 2 yet.
It's your other 2 Heisman Trophy winners. I mean, this day and age, though, it's hard to retire numbers.
Yeah, and it was maybe the greatest season probably in Auburn history, but it was a one and done, which is a little different, right?
I mean, I know guys can wear duplicate numbers, but as big as the rosters are now, to start taking numbers out of circulation would hamstring you a little bit.
Yeah.
Terry Beasley's number 88 is also retired,
as it should
but
be.
It's just 34, 7, and 88.
Okay.
88.
Yeah. So now Deuce retweeted the Cam comments and said he was 100. That Cam said, come back and check with me after your first year. Let's see what kind of player you turn into.
You got to earn the number 2.
But Cam was very, Forrester, did you think it was, Cam was damning about the quarterback play since him at Auburn and everything. I guess he's not lying, but.
No, he's not.
He didn't have very flattering things to say about quarterback play at Auburn.
If you're Cam, why do you care if somebody wears your number, though?
I don't know. I don't understand that.
Yeah, because if I'm Deuce, I go out and tear it up with a different number. I'm not going back to it.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
If I'm number 1 and I lead the team and lead the league in passing.
If I'm number 8, if I'm the best number 8 Auburn's ever had all of a sudden, I'm not going to go to 2 just because now.
Yeah.
But he's okay with it. He says, I totally understand. Deuce, by the way, the MVP of the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game this past weekend. He's going into that quarterback room. Just thought it was really interesting there that Deuce and Cam, it really was just the thoughts of the play of the Auburn Tigers since 2010 from Cam that was just so eye-opening. He didn't pull any punches there. Champy's Chicken with this final thought, brought to you by champy'schicken.com. Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go by and see Sterling and the crew. He'll take care of you with a great lunch or dinner anytime. Wonderful atmosphere there. Sterling and a crew that's been in that location for 10 years. Southern fried chicken, brined overnight, cooked to order, Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, and so much more. It's our friends at Champy's Chicken. Okay, final thought. Let's go you first, Brown. Give me a final thought on Jackson Arnold at Auburn.
Well, I mean, I think you hope what you saw last year at Oklahoma is the product of a bad offensive line and bad receivers, or no receivers. And if it's that, this can be an upgrade at quarterback for Auburn. But if it's not that, then you've bought damaged goods out of the portal.
Yeah,
I think you're getting a better quarterback than that.
I think you're getting a really good quarterback with a ton of upside that I think is going to fit in this system. I think it's going to be a major, not major, yeah, it could end up being a major upgrade from Peyton Thorne. What you saw Peyton Thorne basically be able to extend plays with his legs, Jackson Arnold can do that, but I think consistently he can throw the football, on a much more consistent basis than what we saw from Peyton Thorne. How good is this offensive line going to be? If I'm an Auburn fan, I'm really excited about this. We kind of said when Jackson Arnold got benched, I think his days at Oklahoma are probably numbered. It's ultimately what happened.
So he's at Auburn. We'll talk more about that with Zac Blackerby coming up at 12:15 as we continue live until 1 o'clock. That does it for this show. Back with the bonus hour after a quick timeout. This is The Next Round. God bless you and God bless America.
Call The Next Round now at 205-734-0923.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trussville. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on The Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at The Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short-notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, CoverCrimson.com and TheBarnAuburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or TheBarnAuburn.com. Sign up today.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, bonus hour now until 1 o'clock, and we'll do this all week leading into the college football playoffs, which start on Friday and continue on Saturday. You can sit there and laugh and like, oh, you guys planned on doing this for Alabama? Maybe. But here we are, some bonus time here. Christmas next week as well. We'll be here live with you on Monday after the college football playoffs. So make sure you're with us to react to these games coming up this weekend. And if you want to play the games, you can do that at MyBookie and get the details on who to play from our friends at Lance's Lock.
Yeah, lanceslock.com. Jump on board. We've got both sides tonight in the NFL. We've also got some college hoops. Jump on board at lanceslock.com. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Any of these arise in your home or business, ready to serve you. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
And this hour brought to you, just like the 11 o'clock hour, by our friends at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Great fried chicken. And listen, you do enough holiday food around Thanksgiving, around Christmas Day and New Year's Day. Fill the gaps with family in town with the best fried chicken around. Is Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Brown, as you pull up the betting lines for this weekend, let's talk about that. Remember, Zac Blackerby talking Auburn football with us at 12:15. Until then, a little playoff talk. Indiana, Notre Dame, Friday night at 7 on ABC. Then the triple header on Saturday. SMU, Penn State at 11 on TNT. Clemson and Texas at 3 on TNT. And then Tennessee, Ohio State, 7 ABC. Are the betting lines still all a little over a touchdown?
Yeah, they're all about the same. Lance, they really haven't moved a whole lot. I don't know if that will happen this week or if they've just nailed these, but Notre Dame's a 7.5-point favorite. Total of 51 at home against Indiana. You think you'll see some movement this week, or have we got enough window?
I mean, it's just right there, a tick above 7. I think if you get any money right now, you probably get late Indiana money.
Yeah.
And if it drifts back down to 7, 6.5, then you're going to see a bunch of Notre Dame money. I think it's probably going to hold tight at 7.5.
Have you seen South Bend weather, Jim?
I have not. I'll pull up the forecast.
You pull up the weather for each of these. So because we'll go to Penn State and SMU in a moment. I saw a photo today that I assume is from today. It was positioned as if it was from today, and I could be just biting into a Twitter hoax. But it was showing them, the people, the crew at Beaver Stadium clearing the snow off of the tarp. They had the field tarped, but it was covered in a lot of snow, and they were clearing it off in the end zone just to keep it from piling up day after day after day on the tarp, which tells you they think they're getting more snow.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are fascinated by snow games, especially when you get to watch from the comfort of your living room. But this is exactly why we wanted to see on-campus matchups.
That's right.
Is we want elements to come into play.
Somebody to have a home field advantage.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Friday night in South Bend. It is a 49% of a snow-rain mixture.
So that's not going to really affect Indiana. I mean, they play in crap weather probably the whole month of November up in the Big Ten. So if you want to watch a snow game, you might get that in Notre Dame and Indiana.
They've got a 48% of a snow-rain mix on Wednesday, high of 38. high of 34 on Thursday with a 19% chance of just rain, and then a snow-rain mixture with a high of 34, low of 21 at 50% on Friday.
Oh, okay. Could have a snow game there. All right, so look up State College for me. So Penn State Lance is an 8.5-point favorite as they play host to SMU. It is a 11 a.m. kick. So Scott is showing the photo I saw earlier. So there's the photo from Twitter. Well done, Scott. And you could see the snow plows clearing the snow off the tarp, which again tells me they probably think they're getting a lot more snow, right? You're just going to keep the tarp as clear as you can.
The weather in this one does scare me a little bit.
Especially for SMU.
Yeah, look, Kevin Jennings cannot play the way he played in the first half against Clemson. If they don't turn the football over, I think they're going to be in a really good spot where they could ultimately win this game. I think you're getting value at the 8.5, at least right now where we sit on this Monday, based on three things. I think it was how bad SMU looked in the first half or through three quarters against Clemson. I think it was how good Penn State looked offensively against Oregon. And then I think it's Brand, and it's one of the reasons you got a lot of value with SMU the entire season, especially going in. Ironically, their win total was 8.5, flies over that total. A lot of that was Brand going into the ACC. Now this is SMU going into Brand Stadium in Penn State. One of the reasons this thing's inflated.
I've got Saturday as a high from Weather Channel. The high temperature is 26 degrees.
Yuck.
And the low is 11. Now, they're playing this at 11 in the morning.
Why people willingly live in that, I'll never know.
They'll be coming out of a low of 21, only going up to 26, with a 39% chance of snow the night before and only a 7% during the game.
Okay, so it shouldn't impact the game, yeah.
Fingers crossed. Hey, these meteorologists, to get it wrong. You guys know I hate cold, and I think you all do too.
Yes.
But, I'm positioned right now to go watch my Rams play. The high on Sunday is 23, the low is 14.
Yeah, you'll be miserable. When you leave at halftime, you're going to be as cold as you've ever been.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's the highest total on the board, though, is for that game. Total of 54. So Vegas is telling you that's your highest scoring game right now, Penn State and SMU. Does that surprise you? I mean, I know it doesn't because you've looked at the numbers. But
I think it would have been 49 before the two played in their respective championship games. Again, Penn State couldn't stop Oregon. Oregon really couldn't stop Penn State. SMU, their defense did not look good in the first half. It buckled down in the second half, but their offense came alive. I do like the over in this game.
We'll talk about the other two games and the actual games on the field, not just your weather and traffic on the 8th, after we talk about Jackson Arnold at Auburn. Before we get there, tell us about HydroLive, LT.
IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, now weight loss therapy. It's all under one roof. Very important. Mention next round, you're going to get 20% off those great services. Ask about gift cards this holiday season. Great stocking stuffer. Keep that person in your life fully hydrated. For more information, walk-ins are welcome, but you can book online. If you can't make it, they can send a nurse to your home or business. HydroLiveTherapy.com.
All right, let's talk some Auburn. Zac Blackerby, thebarnauburn.com. Thebarnauburn.com is where you find Zac's work with us. He and Kyle and the entire crew, just Brad Law, everybody doing great work over there. What is up, Zac? How are you?
Hey guys, always good to chat with y'all.
Yeah, it's always good to talk. So the Auburn reaction, we got the Oklahoma reaction a little bit. It was positive, frankly, from Eddie Radosevich. The Auburn reaction to Jackson Arnold that you have seen at thebarnauburn.com and the people you've talked to around Auburn, how would you characterize Auburn fans' reaction to this?
I'd say it's mixed. I think the more optimistic Auburn fan looks at Jackson Arnold as the former consensus 5-star quarterback, one of the best guys in his respective class, and a guy who has all the traits that you want to run kind of what we think the ideal version of what a Hugh Freeze offense looks like. I think he's got a decent arm. He's very athletic. I think there's a lot to like about Jackson Arnold. And then I think kind of maybe the more skeptical Auburn fan that says, well, hey, with all this money that Auburn was apparently ready to spend, could they have gotten a guy that, we don't have to talk ourselves into, a guy that has been excellent and kind of shown that he can play at the highest level. And I don't think Jackson Arnold really checks all of those boxes. So I think both arguments are valid, and I think that's why right now I think it's kind of split, guys.
On that latter argument, though, most of the portal rankings, by the way, for the record, I'm a big fan of Jackson Arnold. I think ton of upside. Yeah. With all that said, I look at the rankings in the portal. He was in the top 3 of available guys all over the place. So who are some other names you potentially heard And I have been, we've kind of thrown it around a little bit. I mean, what do you think the number was that Auburn was willing to spend on a quarterback in the portal?
Yeah. So I guess the first question is, he is my number 2 quarterback currently in the portal. I like Malik Murphy a little bit more, but I think it's close. So I'm with you. I think the upside is certainly there, and that's definitely the argument against that part of the Auburn fan base. It says, well, is this it? Is this it? And the question is like, well, who else? Who else are you going to get? And I think you can make the argument that Arnold fits what we think Hugh Freeze is trying to do more so than Malik Murphy. As far as the number, I've got a pretty good idea of what they threw that direction, and I think it's extremely competitive. I think it's something that it's going to be super interesting to see how sustainable this is moving forward. But Jackson Arnold's making he's got a good living going his way.
So we're not going to get a number.
I'm not going to be the one to report that. No.
Text me, I'll do it.
2 commas. 2 commas though, right? 2 commas?
2 commas.
Okay, all right. So we're at least $1 million plus. All right, I would have assumed that. I just want to make sure.
Is it under 3 commas? So
it is under 3 commas.
Okay,
yes.
So, we won't try to tie you in any more than that.
So we're between 2 and 3. Yes.
So I'm interested to see if you've gotten any reaction being down there from the other players, specifically the receivers, any of the receivers. Have you seen any posts on their social media reacting to Jackson Arnold? Because high-profile receiving room, I'm sure there have been people contacting every one of them. Not that there's tampering, but there's tampering. So how happy are the receivers with the big-name 5-star guy coming in?
Yeah, I imagine they're excited. I haven't talked to any of them directly, but I do think the thing that's most important here is if none of them enter the portal, they must be happy with the current situation, right? It's such a fluid rosters in college football right now are so fluid. And I did talk to some of the guys that visited this past weekend, and some of them ultimately committed, obviously. But one thing that stands out to them is like they're sold on the future of Auburn football. They're sold on what Hugh Freeze is pitching to these guys about Auburn football trending in the right direction. And I said, good, that's awesome. That's kind of what us internally, like that's what we're saying, but you don't know anything about Auburn. You've never been here before. Like, why? Why is that? And he's like, Zach, you've got to look at the folks that aren't leaving. To me, that says everything we need to know. They finished strong in the recruiting class. They clearly buy in. And then, you guys didn't have that good of a season last year and nobody left. We all pay attention to that. And that really, really stands out. And I think you can apply that same thing to the receivers. The offense didn't score as many points as they statistically probably should have this past season. And they clearly believe that it's going to get better, or guys, they would have left.
Zac Blackerby is with us. TheBarnAuburn.com. In 2025, we're going to start the year by celebrating with $25 off your annual. So you make an annual commitment there to TheBarnAuburn.com. You get $25 off starting in 2025. So you can get all the great content there that Zach and Kyle and Brad and the entire gang put out. And enjoy the message board as well that will have breaking news on transfer portal and things like that at TheBarnAuburn.com. First of all, Hugh Freeze wants 4 scholarship quarterbacks, right? That would be his goal. Do you believe that?
I think that's his goal. I think the path to that got a lot trickier.
No doubt.
Over the weekend. Can you bring in 3 transfer quarterbacks? Would 3 guys want that? I don't know. I don't know.
And the second signing day, you're not going to get anything, right? There's really nothing left. You might could get a warm body, but that's going to be it.
Yeah, the only name I'm hearing for the spring signing day is the Auburn High running back that's going to reclassify from 2026 to 2025. That's the only name I'm really hearing. And you may alter that. Can you go and get a 3-star guy that suddenly becomes interested in you because you're the biggest school that's offered him that hasn't signed yet? Maybe, but I can't imagine there's too many of those guys out there right now.
So it's all in the portal. So now you've got to convince a guy to come be a backup. I hate to say it this way, but I think this is the case, Zach. You got to get a guy that's probably given up on being in the NFL and looks at it as maybe I'll get some snaps. Otherwise, I'm going to go play at an SEC school, enjoy an SEC environment, live on a campus with a lot of good-looking women, play in front of a bunch of fun crowds. That's kind of what you're looking for now in the portal.
I thought that was a pretty good sales pitch, but is it going to work? I don't know. That's kind of, it seems like that's the pitch they're doing with Ashton Daniels. Early, as soon as he entered the portal, there were several predictions or crystal balls, RPMs, whatever you want to call it, saying, hey, watch out for the former Stanford quarterback to sign with Auburn. And I think he's visiting either today or in the next few days, sometime this week. And so that's one of those guys. Is that enough? Are you comfortable going into the season with Jackson Arnold, Ashton Daniels, and Deuce Knight? I think as far as production on the field, yes, but you need 4 scholarship quarterbacks, 1 for development and 2 like to run practice. I think a lot of people forget about this, but you need quarterbacks to run practices smoothly. And like, can you upgrade a walk-on and, maybe give him a scholarship or at least a larger role? You could, but that's certainly not ideal, I would think.
Yeah, right now they're probably saying, how much are we paying Jason Campbell? If we give him an extra 10%, will he come out and throw balls for us?
He's already got 10 jobs. What's one more at this
That's right, yeah.
So I know running back was a position of need, and they go up north. Darrell Robinson is a guy they get. What can you tell us about him, and are there other potentials that they're still going after in the portal when it comes to the running back position?
Yeah, I would think if they're pursuing other running backs, they feel like Jeremiah Cobb is entering the portal. And to me, if you can keep Damari and Jeremiah, and now you've got Darrell and you signed Alvin, I think that's a pretty solid running back room. As far as what he is as a player, I don't think he's not some speedster. I think he's a guy that's a really solid one-cut player, and then he gets 6 or 7 yards. He averaged just under 7 yards a carry for UConn last year at 6.8. But he was like their number 3 guy or so. And he's probably going to be Auburn's number 3 guy unless Jeremiah Cobb leaves. And then I think it's a little bit more interesting on what they're going to do. But I don't really know what this guy's workload is. We saw it last year. Like, how many touches does the number 2 or number 3 running back get in Hugh Freeze's system? I mean, we all were asking for more running back involvement throughout the season a year ago. So I don't really know what to expect from him from a workload standpoint. But as far as talent and traits, yeah, I think he's a pretty good back.
Offensive line, quarterback, running backs, receivers. This is the league where you win in the trenches. I see you, the kid from Virginia Tech, Chaplin, who's part of the portal haul. Is that still a priority as you continue to fill out this roster? And I guess on the backside of that, I would imagine you think Auburn's still going to be very active down the stretch here, right?
Yeah, they've got a lot of roster spots to fill. No question about it. I think they'll probably try to get another offensive tackle. I think they'll probably try to get some interior guys, too. They've got a handful of interior guys coming to visit, which honestly surprised me a little bit. Just because Jeremiah Wright's coming back, Dylan Wade announced that he's coming back. Connor Lew's the best center in the SEC, maybe in the country. So we'll see about that. And they've got some guys that have kind of been behind those dudes in the 2 deep that seem to be getting better too. So we'll see exactly what happens with the offensive line. But I think they need another corner. I think they need a veteran corner in that room. With them missing out on Naeem Offord, they need another guy that can cover consistently in the SEC. So that's a position I'm looking out for. As well as I think they need a linebacker. There was kind of that faulty commitment of Phoenix Jackson, the linebacker from Fresno State. Sounds like he's visiting still. So I think he's kind of on a watch as far as if he could end up in this class. And then they need bodies on the defensive line. They need probably 2 or 3 at least interior defensive linemen to be part of this portal class. So, yeah, they've still got their work cut out for them for sure.
I don't want you to leave because the barnauburn.com is not just football. A lot of basketball talk goes on over there as well. I get kidded a lot up here and honestly publicly because I picked Auburn to win the national championship in my March Madness bracket last year, and they got beat by Yale in the first round.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be the only guy, especially if you're filling out a bracket right now. That team looks so good right now. I say it's because of the team defense. With all due respect to Janai Broome, that team defense to me seems to be the reason they can make a long run this year. What do you like about this team so far?
Gosh, there's so much. There's so much. I mean, you can't go anywhere else, in my opinion, but talking about Janai Broome, I think he's the best player in college basketball, and he's added so much to his game from last year to this year, which is rare when you talk about a player who's been playing college basketball for as long as he has, to see the jump that he's had. But it just seems like in every different game this year, there's been different supporting cast members who have stepped up. I mean, Denver Jones was like a quiet 14 points against Ohio State. who is the second highest scorer. It's not like anybody's popping off, and they're still scoring 90 against these good teams. But it doesn't matter what game it is. There's going to be somebody who steps up. Chad Baker-Mazara has had his games. Chaney Johnson has been extremely steady. Miles Kelly has popped off a few times this season. There's just so many different things that they can throw at you. And I think over the course of 40 minutes, that's just a lot for most teams to handle. So that's certainly part of it. Then, yeah, you mentioned the team defense. These guys know that if they go hard for 4 or 5 minutes, they're going to get subbed out. So there's no reason to kind of like pace themselves. They can go all out. And opposing offenses have not really figured out how to consistently beat them this season. That's going to be a big thing to watch going into conference play in a few weeks.
All right, he is Zac Blackerby at ZBlackerby on social media is where you follow him. TheBarnAuburn.com. Go sign up. Hey, starting in 2025, $25 off your annual. That's how we celebrate going to 2025. That's a great savings. So a great time to join. Maybe give it as a Christmas gift. TheBarnAuburn.com.
Wow.
How about
I like
that idea,
that.
huh?
Yeah.
To that Auburn fan in your life. Good gift right there. Zach, thank you very much, man. Have a great week. Good to talk to you.
Hey, thanks, guys.
All right, buddy. Zac Blackerby with us there on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Oh, a real quick thought after that. I've got something on Janai Broome.
Inverness Country Club bringing you part of the show today. A great gift. Speaking of gift ideas. And I tell you, it's not just about golf at Inverness. There's so much more, including, I think, the best pool setup in town.
Well, and you talk to young couples, they love not only the social membership, including the resort-style pool that you talk about, the full-service cabana bar, live music on Friday, Sunday brunch, but also the child care. You and your wife on a day of golf or tennis, guess what? You can drop the kid, go have yourself a day on the court or course, dinner with friends, knowing your friend or your kid is safe on site is a huge plus. Best days happen in Inverness. To take a tour of this unbelievable club today, call Erin, tell her the next round sent you, 205-991-8608. That's 205-991-8608 or ICCalabama.com.
And don't forget, as you look for travel options this holiday season, rent from McCurry Van and Car Rental, the local rental company you could depend on. All kinds of vehicles to choose from. That includes trucks, SUVs, passenger vans, easy to rent, in and out fast. Throughout North Alabama, Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, 2nd Avenue Northwest in Coleman, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. You can reserve your rental today, 256-559-1003. That's 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com. That's McCurryRentals.com. One thing that might hurt Janai Broome in the Naismith Player of the Year discussion we didn't get to earlier is Cooper Flagg. Just the fact that he plays for Duke, and it's hard to say because Duke beat Auburn on the court, but I think Auburn's the better team. The better team doesn't always win a game every night, and I think in the long run, Auburn will be the better team. I think it may seem like Flagg is more valuable to his team than Broome is to his. It's going to be tough. I mean, I think Broome is the best player in America right now.
Yeah,
but by the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, Flagg's upside is ridiculous. It's one of the reasons he's going to go probably number one overall. With all that said, I mean, I think Broome is the more valuable player right now.
And all due respect to the brand that is Duke, we're about to get into conference play, and I told you earlier that every road game and very close to every home game is going to be a quad one game in the SEC.
That is correct.
So
which means you're going to lose some of them.
Oh, it is, but it also means you're playing in what is going to, it's going to be talked about all the way until the last SEC team is eliminated in March Madness, how deep and how strong this conference is. This will be the talk of college basketball, just what a beast this SEC is. And are they going to get 10, 11, 12, 13 teams in the tournament? Can they get 13 in? Do they deserve 13? Do they deserve 14? That'll be the talk so long. And I think if Janai continues to put up these unbelievable numbers, that's what would lift him to that award. But I don't think he cares about. I mean, it'd be nice if you get it. I really do believe that, it's about getting back to a Final Four and winning a championship. A guy like Janai Broome's at Auburn off of the buzz of that Final Four, right? He comes in the aftermath of that Final Four run they had, and I think a lot of the players who were there, were at a very valuable age when Auburn was in that Final Four, and they see the jungle and they see Bruce Pearl and the style, and I think that's what attracts them to Auburn is they know that program can go to the Final Four and can be number one, number two in the country, depending on which polls you look at. So and you're in the SEC, which is this year is the predominantly dominant basketball conference. A lot of things could lift Janai up. By the way, home game against Georgia State, 7 o'clock coming up tomorrow night, Tuesday night. They've got that long streak of sellouts. Students are out. I don't know if technically all the tickets are sold or not, but there is a chance that not only can you get tickets to the game at a reduced price than what you normally get it on the open market, but also if you go to that game, there's a good chance you could sit in those jungle seats and be part of the student section jungle. There'll be some openings there because the students aren't on campus. So I heard Bruce talking about this pregame of Ohio State in Atlanta and a little bit postgame, that the biggest complaint he hears is I can never get tickets to go see Auburn basketball in Neville Arena. Well, there they are, Georgia State on Tuesday.
To your point, ATIX right now, I'm looking at our buddies at ATIX, AAATix.com if you want to go buy these. Get in $84 for the Georgia State game.
Yeah.
And now you may look at that and say, holy crap, Georgia State get in $84. That's as cheap as it'll be the rest of the year. That's the cheapest you're going to find it right there.
Usually in the hundreds easily for a single. So if you're an Auburn fan and want to go to a game at Neville Arena, there is an opportunity tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on ESPN Plus to go do that.
Meanwhile, the get in for the Purdue game this week at Legacy. Now, this is a lower. I shouldn't say this is a get in. I think all ATIX has right now are lower is $305 a ticket.
Yeah. That's sold out like that.
16,000 people and it's $305 a ticket.
Sold out like that because, and again, it's 3:30 on Saturday with the college football playoffs going on, but it's sold out like that because of Auburn fans in this area. It's hard to get into Neville, and you don't have to drive 2 hours there, 2 hours back, so you can go support the team against a great quality opponent. Now, Purdue got run by A&M this past weekend.
Man, Purdue's playing a schedule, too.
Yeah, boy, aren't they? Yeah, Purdue and Illinois. Like, Illinois played Tennessee and lost at the buzzer after playing Alabama here. I mean, we've seen a lot of Big Ten and SEC crossover. I like it.
Yeah, me too. So basketball. By the way, Alabama, 33 days between home games at Coleman Coliseum. All they're doing is taking Grant Nelson back up to North Dakota Wednesday night and playing a road game in the state of North Dakota at 8 o'clock on CBS Sports Network Wednesday before they come home with Kent State on Sunday. So big travels for Alabama basketball as they head up to North Dakota. Show being brought to you by our friend Dr. B, that wonderful guy right there who's made LT's hair great and trying to make Brown's hair great again.
Yes, we're both doing the same non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. That is it. Dr. Beckenstein, best in the business. When I noticed I was thinning out a few years ago, 205-319-0316. That's the call that I made. Schedule that consultation. Tell them the next round sent you. Dr. B, again, best in the business. If you're looking to maintain what you've got, grow some of it back, you can do it from our friend Dr. Beckenstein, 205-319-0316, T3hair.net.
Did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, when was the last time Alabama did not have a first-team All-American on either side of the ball in football?
First-team All-American? I would
maybe Saban's first year.
I would say probably 2007.
Yeah, if I'm looking at this right, it looks like no first-teamers this year.
Now, what I think Book made AP first team. Am I wrong about that? He did not?
He did not.
I thought I saw that earlier today.
I thought I saw a release earlier.
Yeah, hang on, let me double-check that. What are you looking at? Are you looking at AP?
I am looking at AP, yeah.
I thought Book was first team and Malachi Moore was second team. So
Malachi Moore and Book are both second team.
They're both second team. Okay, that's
You've
my
got
apologies.
6 SEC players on the first team.
Yeah.
By the way, that too, a little low.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, you're just talking about the overall SEC.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. That just looking at the first, second, and third teams, that first time I can remember that Alabama didn't have anybody.
This is AP All-American. Tell me who the 6 SEC players are.
Well, both your tackles, Kelvin Banks and Will Campbell from Texas and LSU. So that's 2. What are other obvious ones that I might be missing here? The center, Jake Slaughter from Florida.
So that's first team?
That's first team.
So 3 of the 5 offensive linemen were SEC from the first team.
And none of them were Booker.
Yeah. I mean,
Walter Nolan is first team.
As he should be.
Ole Miss, yeah. What is that, 4?
Yep.
The Barron kid from Texas is one of the cornerbacks.
He's so good. He won the Thorpe, did he not?
I think so.
Or was it the Ben Narek, one of the two, or is it one of those?
Whichever one's the best DB in the country.
Yeah, defensive awards.
And then the Emin Worry from South Carolina, another D-back.
Yeah.
That was your 6.
I mean, 0 skill. Think about that.
Well, I was going to bring this up
the
too.
SEC, 0 skill players in the SEC were All-American.
So if you look at running backs,
is there any Georgia or Alabama players?
You've got
Or is
to
that all other. Yeah, wow.
That's all others.
So running back Dylan Sampson, who is your SEC Offensive Player of the Year, is a third-team All-American.
Team. Well, Genty had to be first team. I don't know how many running backs they do.
Yeah.
Genty
and Scattaboo.
Scattaboo, okay. I got no problem with that.
Yeah, your first team.
I like what Dylan Sampson did, but my first team would be Genty and Scattaboo.
Yeah, and your second team's really good, too. The O'Marion Hampton from North Carolina and Caleb Johnson from Iowa. I mean, they're both probably better backs, at least college backs, at least right there with him.
Yeah.
Interesting there. On the AP poll. We'll talk more about the playoffs here from the coaches in just a second. The show being brought to you by a couple of great folks. Before LT tells us about our friends at Woodhouse, let me remind you that Champy's Chicken bringing you the bonus hour all week long. Champy'sChicken.com. Brined overnight, cooked to order that fried chicken. But let me tell you about other menu items. You have the po' boys there, for the chicken or the shrimp po' boys that are wonderful. The Mississippi Delta recipe tamale is really the way we started introducing Champy's to you. It's a great appetizer. Nothing like a Mississippi Delta tamale, so spicy. Hand-cut chicken fingers, so much more. Highway 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken, and our friends at Woodhouse.
Yeah, this Christmas treat that special someone to the gift of luxury from Birmingham's best day spa, the Woodhouse Day Spa. We're just 9 days out if you're procrastinating and you haven't pulled the trigger yet. Wife, girlfriend, grandmother, mother, do it for your husband. Look, these are just incredible services from the massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. And right now, series of 6 for $5. You buy 5 of those great services, you're going to get one absolutely free from Stuart, the great staff. America's best day spa since 2009. Again, you can order that special person gift online 24/7, birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
Listen, we don't know the importance of home field advantage, the way it's going to look in the playoffs. We'll find out this weekend with those 4 games, 1 on Friday, 3 on Saturday. For Dan Lanning, I don't think we know the importance of the bye yet. But the Oregon coach is okay with having that bye.
I think the real advantage is giving your guys an opportunity to get some rest and recovery, in a really long season. You talk about playing 13 games, that's a long season. So there's an advantage there for sure. And certainly an advantage getting an opportunity to know who you're going to play. You don't know which team, but it's a little bit more like NFL football, right, where you get an opportunity to prepare for both, have a great plan for both, and then be in position to be able to execute that when you get to that point.
Yeah, so that's Dan Lanning. Good position to be in, except, by the way, they get the winner of the Tennessee-Ohio State game. They probably get the toughest second-round game despite being the only unbeaten team.
They came out of the gate early, and I guess you can say they've been the most consistent team because they're the only undefeated team.
Yeah.
But, they beat Idaho by 10, and then they were lucky to survive Boise State. It really was special teams that got them the win there. And the way their offense is clicking right now over the last couple of weeks against Washington and Penn State, scoring a combined 90-plus points in those 2 games, I would think with the way Dylan Gabriel is spinning it right now, you would want to continue to play. Now, look, this is a team that beat the holy hell out of Liberty in the Bowl last year with a nice little layoff. But I don't know. Whoever is playing them in this second round, you're going to get a team that just played. I don't think they want to see Ohio State. I think for Nico to go on the road and to beat that Ohio State defense and then turn around and go out west and beat Oregon, I think that's a high mountain to climb for him. I think they would much rather see Tennessee in this spot, but Oregon did not get a good draw.
Yeah, Ohio State, who played them to within 1 point, driving at the end when the clock ran out in Eugene, then you get them at a neutral site. That seems like that would mentally give a little bit of an edge to Ohio State.
Yeah, and I was going to say Ohio State familiar with the Rose Bowl. I don't know that any of these Ohio State players ever played in the Rose Bowl, did they? Because they've either been in the college football playoff or...
maybe when you go back to the Utah-Ohio State game where Cam Rising got hurt. Tell me if you've heard this before.
You're going to be more specific.
It's when Jackson Smith injured. Went
that's right.
Absolutely nuts on that team. I think it was 3 years ago, so you might have a couple of holdovers.
I don't think it would matter.
But I still think Ohio State's going to have a ton of confidence because they were -2 in a 1 point game on the road, -2 in turnovers. They had 8 penalties. They didn't play a good football game.
Wait, I wonder what the crowd breakout would be for a game at the Rose Bowl. Like Oregon fans, they're sitting around. They could go ahead and plan their travel and say, we're going to be there. I mean, Ohio State fans, that's a quick turnaround.
Bottomless pockets.
Yeah, I mean, you need them.
You're going to need a lot of alums in California. I'd say it'd be 50-50.
If it's Tennessee, what do you think it is? You think a lot of Vol fans are going to pony up to go to Columbus and would fly out to the Rose?
Same thing, I think.
Yeah. So you think it's probably going to be a 50-50 atmosphere either way?
Well, I just think Ohio State fans are used to going to that game, so they'll have some contacts, travel packages they're used to. I'd say 60-40 at that point if it's Tennessee.
And I think Oregon. It will be a relatively cheap ticket. I could be wrong here.
Yeah. Well,
big stadium.
$100 ticket.
I say this all the time. Both times Alabama has played out there, and the time Auburn played out there, that was a face value ticket at game time.
Yeah.
They're just
now face value is $125.
No, it's not cheap, but it's not $1,000 like you would think a Rose Bowl might be.
Cut number 2 and 3, Tyler. 2 and 3, if you would, buddy. Cut 2 and 3, if we can. Steve Sarkisian and Texas getting ready to host Dabo Swinney and Clemson as we get ready for that contest. That is the middle game, 3 o'clock TNT game on Saturday. Sarkisian talking about this 12-team format and having to play the extra game, losing the SEC championship game, not getting the bye, and the first ever meeting between Texas and Clemson. Here's Sark.
This is an exciting time for college football. You know, the 12-team playoff is definitely, we all know is a new format, but I think it's an exciting format. And I think we're all kind of going through it together of what this looks like. But the fact that, we're the 5 seed and we get to play a 12 seed in a team like Clemson, a team who's been a perennial college football playoff team. I think Coach Sweeney's done a fantastic job at Clemson. You don't win 2 national titles over a 17-year period, multiple appearances in the CFP, numerous ACC conference championships. So they've got a championship program. And the fact that we've never played them, that Texas has never played Clemson in football, the first time will be in the inaugural 12-team college football playoff right here at DKR, I think is very exciting.
Yeah, I want to know mentally his team after they lost the Georgia game. Can you recreate an edge coming off a loss to battle Clemson in this situation? Or do you feel like maybe this team mentally is a step down from where they could have been had they won the SEC championship? Because some people like coming off of losses if they're still playing for something.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see it last year because Georgia didn't get in. Nobody was playing off a loss last year.
This does have to feel weird in these practices, though. Like are you ever in a situation where you're just like, it just feels weird? I've not been in this situation before.
Yeah, well, right now, just doing a live show till 1 o'clock, it's so different than it usually is every day.
This is like Texas practicing right now?
I mean, I'm like,
why am I out here?
Yeah, why are we working right now?
Yeah, I mean, like Penn State coming off a loss, and then you're immediately back at practice, not for a game that's a month away, for a game that's a week away. Texas coming off a loss, and you're almost immediately back at practice for a home game that's a week away. It's just got to be a weird feeling.
But it's
weird for everybody.
I know Texas' defense is good. I think they're good overall. I'm not really sure because really the quality opponent they played, they lost to twice. I think it is interesting with Clemson because Cade Klubnik's an Austin native. He played at Westlake High where, by the way, he won a state championship. Guess who he went against in that state championship?
Jackson Arnold? Who was it?
Quinn Ewers.
Quinn Ewers.
Yeah,
How about
so
that?
we're
Rematch.
going to see a rematch of the 6A 2020 state championship game with these two. I think Klubnik's a good quarterback. I don't know what he's got around him, really.
Back to your MyBookie.ag point spreads. Texas the biggest favorite in the first round. They're an 11.5-point favorite over Clemson, a total of 51.5. So
63 degrees and very little chance of wind or rain. A very light wind, very slim chance of winds, the early forecast.
The one game where weather should impact absolutely nothing is Clemson playing at Texas. Vegas does not think this will be a game. I don't know if you agree with the Vegas line at 11.5. I don't know how you feel about Tennessee, Ohio State.
Can you tell me what Texas is going to be able to do on the ground? Because Clemson's rush defense is not good. It's the worst that Dabo's had in a decade plus. And Texas was unable to run the football against Georgia. I mean, Georgia sold out, and Schumann and Smart were like, hey, we're going to make Ewers beat us. And Ewers made some plays, but also turned it over a couple of times. They just weren't going to let Texas run the football. Now, I don't know if Clemson can just man up like that. And I don't think they can. But if Texas runs like they have been running the football on most people, I think it could be a long, long day for Clemson.
Forrester, can you just punch up the still shot there real quick?
So odd looking.
It's like this is what Dabo Swinney would look like if he was a hologram. or he's died and he's coming back to us from the afterlife to give us some wisdom here. Dabo, in this soundbite, when he starts actually moving in the chroma key, talks to us about what this Clemson team has thrived on this year, and they hope to do to Quinn Ewers coming up this weekend.
When this is what you do for a living, I mean, kind of every team, it's like if you're a parent, all your kids are different, right? Like, they're all same DNA, but they all have different personalities and different, gifts and different challenges and things like that. And I would say it's the same thing with the teams that I've had. But I think as far as what we've done best is turnover margin. We've been really, really good. We're probably top 3 or 4 in the country in the turnover margin. That was the difference in the game last night. I think that we've been a good third down team for the most part on both sides all year. But that'd be probably the 2 biggest things that I would say from a strength standpoint. We've been opportunistic that way. And it's a big reason why we're 10-3.
Clemson is actually number 5 in the nation in turnover margin.
Yeah. Turning over Quinn Ewers would be the key, right?
Yeah, they're plus 16 in turnover margin. However, Notre Dame, Indiana are both better than them, and Arizona State's right behind them. Apparently, turnover margin got you in the playoffs.
Yeah. And Notre Dame right now, number 1. I think they forced 28 turnovers this year. Clemson going back week 1 against Georgia, you were like, this ain't a playoff team. Especially the way they played in the second half. And then they get beat by double digits against Louisville, and you're like, that's it, they're done. And then they lose the final week of the regular season to South Carolina.
And what ultimately, playoff-wise, was a meaningless game. I hate to say that, but it was.
It's just great. Like, Clemson, to me, I don't know about you guys, is the most surprising team amongst the 12 in the field.
They are the black cat with 9 lives right now.
They are.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they got another one. I mean, this is going to be like Clemson is playing with house money. Like, whatever they do, we won the ACC championship. We got to a 12-team playoff. Dabo can sell this. We've got it going in the right direction. And, oh, by the way, Kate Klubnik is back next year. If you're Texas and you lose this game after losing to Georgia for a second time, this is almost, on a much different level what we saw with Army. And, hey, look, if we don't beat Navy after this great season, it hasn't been a great season. Is that the way Texas would categorize this if they lose this home game to Clemson?
Oh, it would be 3 losses. You made the playoffs, but you really didn't do anything meaningful in the regular season. You've got no championships. That would be a big disappointment.
It really would be,
for this roster. Show being brought to you by our friends at Odie's LT. Trivia coming up Wednesday night, but it's a Monday. What do you get at Odie's on a Monday?
You can get a corn dog right now with a bowl of chili.
Oh, heck yeah!
I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't just drive straight, get you an IPA on the side of that, and it just kicks off the Monday the right way. Lunch or dinner for Rodney Davis. Been doing it for over 35 years. Delicious wings and burgers as well. Ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. We've got Wednesday night trivia coming up. The original location at Crestline, newest location in Edgewood. Get in and see Will Haver and that great staff. It's Odie's Tavern.
And our friends at Hemp Hill Services, the name Birmingham's trusted since the 1950s. Listen, your air conditioning yesterday, had to turn it on because it got up to, in my place, around 71, 72 degrees. Had to turn the air conditioning on. We'll have to turn the heat back on at some point here recently. Got to get those tested all the time. As our wonderful friends at Hemp Hill, the name Birmingham's trusted for a long, long time. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or your business, they're ready to serve you. 205-229-2090. Hit that QR code for Lance's lock on the screen as well. 205-229-2090 for our friends at Hemp Hill Services. By the way, in Columbus, 29 degrees the high. It'll be around that Tennessee practice temperature, 24 at kickoff.
Yeah, I think it might have been Chris Lowe that pointed that out. It was somebody I saw on Twitter when they were talking about the weather in Ohio State. Was like, hey, by the way, I was at Tennessee's practice yesterday. They practiced in the morning. It was 24 degrees. This is not going to blow Tennessee away. It gets cold in Knoxville. Ohio State, a 7.5-point favorite, total of 47. This is, I think, the most popular upset pick by America, which I know that's why he likes the other side.
I mean, you guys just remind me the last time Nico played a really good game against a really good defense.
Okay, let me pull up Nico.
Yeah, you can pull him up.
I think a lot of people are going to this LT because great running game and a great defense. that sounds like Michigan.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's
Okay.
a lot of what Michigan did to hurt Ohio State. Tennessee can do too.
Well, and, Josh Simmons is out. Seth McLaughlin on that offensive line. Tennessee does have a really, really good defensive line. By the way, 2 former Alabama players from last year on the first team. It's Seth McLaughlin, your first-team All-Center.
Your Remington Award winner.
Or maybe it was second team. He was second team.
Yeah, but
and
he won
then
the Remington.
Caleb Downs was second team or first-team All-American.
Yeah. That's
Nico.
crazy. Yeah.
Nico has got exactly 1 300-yard passing game in his career. You pointed that out earlier.
August 31st against the Mocs of Chattanooga.
The Mocs of Chattanooga, so he's not even done it against the FBS. The second highest of his career, he did not do that in 2023, so it's going to be this year. The second highest of his career would be Kentucky. 28 of 38, 292, a touchdown, no picks. Great game for him, his best FBS game, but that was Kentucky, who was awful this year.
Okay, give us a quality opponent, Brown.
His third best was Vanderbilt on the road. 18 of 26, 257, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. You stop me when I get to a quality opponent.
His 1 pick was awful in that game.
Yeah. His fourth best was North Carolina State, neutral site. 16 of 23, 211, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks.
Yeah, blowout game, but you're seeing there, the last 2 you've said is 23 in the NC State game, 26 in the Vandy game of attempts.
Yeah.
So that's not a lot of passing.
Yeah, UTEP, 17 of 23, 209, 4 touchdowns, no picks.
23 pass attempts.
Let me just go to the quality opponents. He's played 2 ranked opponents his entire career, so those will be his quality opponents, we would agree, right?
Yep.
Number 11, Alabama at home, 14 of 27, 194, touchdown and a pick. He barely completed half his passes.
Yeah, but 27, didn't get to 30.
His 1 touchdown was a nice throw.
It was a pretty throw.
Had a couple of good throws in that game.
Yeah. To his defense, he had a couple TDs dropped in that game.
Yeah.
Or he just missed some
played
guys, I guess.
better in the second half than the first half.
Absolutely.
His only other game against ranked opponents was at number 2, Georgia, 20 of 33, 167, no touchdowns, no picks. So to your point, Lance, his 2 ranked opponents has not done much for you.
And I think Georgia on the road is much what you will see against Ohio State. Now, if those are the numbers, I mean, you can win a graveyard pillow fight game. Try to eke it out 14-10, something like that. Because, Will Howard, when's the last time we saw Will Howard play in a massive game and actually walk away the winner in that game?
Good question on that one, too.
That's a great question.
Yeah, I could tell you his if you want.
A lot of question marks at quarterback. Those 4 games this weekend is college football playoff time. Friday night, Indiana, Notre Dame, and then the tripleheader, SMU, Penn State, Clemson, Texas, Tennessee, and Ohio State. All right, stretch run here. We're live until 1 every day, all week long, getting ready for the college football playoffs. 2 new faces and coaching in new places after LT tells us about the New York Butcher Shop.
New York Butcher Shop, great place to pre-order right now your holiday meal. Just stop in, see Jim and the fine folks. 2 locations, the original right there in Cahaba Heights, the newer location, Highway 119 in Greystone. From the finest selection of age-certified Angus prime beef tenderloins, prime rib roast, the premium Duroc pork chop, crown roast. Also, don't forget about the Applewood smoked spiral sliced hams, Japanese certified A5 Wagyu fillets, and other cuts. Stop in. Also get incredible desserts, fine wines, 2 locations, rare quality, well-done service, the New York Butcher Shop.
Portal update for Alabama. Now, this is not a guy that was a heavy contributor for the Tide, but it is a guy that I think at this position, a lot of people thought he was going to be really good, and Clint Lamb is one of the first people from Cover Crimson that I saw say this. Alabama tight end Danny Lewis is withdrawn from the transfer portal, so he'll be staying at Alabama. Again, not a massive name there, but I think this is a guy a lot of people thought had a pretty good future in that offense.
So there you go. That's the proof that we always tell you. I rarely see it happen, but just because you enter the portal doesn't mean you can't go back to the school you entered the portal from. Danny Lewis, the latest example to do that. You can also go back home again. That's what Rich Rodriguez did, the West Virginia head coach, now from Jacksonville State. Here's what Rich Rod said, and I find it interesting, at his introductory news conference.
And then I even got cousins here that I haven't seen in a long time. And it really means a lot to me. And so many people that are here that were there when I was back and made that mistake of leaving 17 years ago that are still here working. It tells me they still love this place as I do. And it'll always be home. But let me take a second.
Yeah. He went on to say, I should have never left in that situation. So an emotional time for Rich Rod returning back. I sort of hope he's successful.
Yeah, I do too. I believe him. Look, and sometimes you go for the greener pasture, and it's not always greener. And I think that's what he did when he left West Virginia. And it might have been a situation where, man, back in the BCS, it's got to be perfect for West Virginia to be able to get to a opportunity to play for a championship. And you go to Michigan where you think you might be able to print these things, and it was just a disastrous fit. I thought for Arizona standards, he did a really good job with that Arizona job, which has no commitment to football. And now you're back. He played there. I think the fans were a little lukewarm on him coming back.
I think they were.
But I think now that he's back, they're like, damn, that's our guy.
Yeah, a little like Mark Pope, by the way, Kentucky.
That's right.
Now, Pope's actually done it on the court already. We'll see if Rodriguez is doing it on the field. I was talking to Forrester before this, and he was asking me, what I thought about Rodriguez saying it was a mistake to leave. And I was like, oh, it's clearly a mistake to leave. But like Forrester said, the guy had passed on the Alabama job and then gets offered the Michigan job. There's not a coach in America that says no to that.
Well, and
especially a coach at West Virginia's level.
People getting remarried is a thing, right?
It is, yeah. Divorcing
and how many times do you think that conversation was? Whether it was both or one party saying, "Man, that was just a mistake.
Yeah,
I should have known what I had."
That's right. You don't know what you got till it's gone. It's a great Cinderella song, and it's
really.
It's true.
I'm just the people I bounced around with. Second marriages have always been the successful one.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though.
You didn't realize how good you had it until you didn't have that marriage anymore.
Probably the conversation, whether it was husband or wife or both, one of the two or both didn't want it to work out, and you probably have that conversation when you've reconciled and you're like, man, that was a bad mistake. And I think that's...
getting back together.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And now Rich Rod, remarrying West Virginia... I mean, I think it's genuine. Like, I don't think he's a good enough actor where he has to pause and get that emotion.
Oh, yeah. I do think it's genuine emotion.
Yeah.
And he's just, I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's all about the NIL now. You tell me what his NIL is like. Like, this is a guy that went and got Pat White from Daphne, Alabama.
Yeah, by the way, Pat wants to be part of his coaching staff. That could happen. He's in coaching, and I think he'll be able to tap in to some big bucks there in West Virginia. He was using NIL money from West Virginia at Jack State already, so he'll probably be able to find a few more of those up there. Dan Mullen's got to find it at UNLV. They've promised to increase their NIL budget, and Dan Mullen just laid it flat. I like when a coach that comes in and says, man, there's no rebuilding.
This is not a building project here. This program's on the up. This program is where it needs to be. I think Barry Odom has done an amazing job in building this program. I've been great friends with Barry, and in looking at the team, getting to see the team and what Coach Odom's done is amazing. I mean, 10-win season, that's a special deal. Going to a bowl game, competing for 2 straight conference championships. He's gotten this program aligned in the right direction, and I'm excited to continue that. I'm excited to continue that path, to take that next step, which that next step is to go win that conference championship. The next step is to go take our stage in the college football playoff on the national stage.
Yeah, and whoop, whoop. And he says, by the way, we're in the entertainment capital of the world. I'm gonna try to put on a show for you.
I mean, he at times ran very entertaining offense.
I think their only 10-win season before this year was Randall Cunningham back in 1984. Yeah. And, Odom's coming off 9 and then 10 wins. And before that, it was a absolute disaster. So I guess my question to you guys, can you maintain this?
I think he can. Now, what is their quarterback situation? I know they lost the quarterback. I don't know if he's going to have that other guy back. I mean, that's what's going to determine a lot of that.
Yeah, I think that kid is coming back. The Matthew Sluka guy is, by the way, still in the portal.
Yeah, he's still in the portal, and he made a massive mistake. UNLV got better without him.
Yep. And not a lot of people are looking for him right now.
No, I know. I think Matthew's going to be stuck in the old portal for quite a while. So, I mean, I would think he can sustain this. I think Dan Mullen, Jim always hated it when we graded him on the curve at Mississippi State, and it didn't work out at Florida. Maybe Mullen's just one of those guys that's better at that level. Maybe that's his cap. Maybe he just runs a good enough offense that on that level, you give him an athletic quarterback that can run that offense that he likes to run, and that's his level.
We finished the sheet with Luke Altmaier says he's returning to Illinois. Haynes King is returning to Georgia Tech. And congratulations to Jackson State, who won the Celebration Bowl and becomes the HBCU national champion. Deion woke up a giant there at Jackson State, and it pays off with a national championship there. And for the first time ever, I think we played the regular season and the bowl season on the same day on Saturday, with Army-Navy and the start of the bowl season with South Alabama beating Western Michigan 30-23. If you don't think the college football calendar is screwed up, how about the regular season and the bowl season happening on the same day?
That is pretty crazy.
We do have bowl games this week. Speaking of West Virginia, Memphis and West Virginia, 8 o'clock ESPN tomorrow night continues the bowl season. A couple of games later this week, including Cal and UNLV, 8 o'clock ESPN on Wednesday. We get our first SEC bowl game on Friday, 2:30 in the afternoon. Tulane in Florida down in the Gasparilla Bowl down in Tampa. That's our show today. We're back with you tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. Thanks for you being with us again all the way to 1 o'clock all week long. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.